Hello, everyone. Welcome to History with Hersefet. I'm your host, Chris, aka Hersefet. Today, we'll be reflecting on the year that was 1996. The views shared on this podcast come from your everyday, ordinary people. My hope is that it'll give a unique perspective on history. For future podcasts, we're going to be doing the year 1997, 1998, and we're going to have a special holiday podcast episode for everyone, just in time for the holiday season. So look forward to that. That one will actually be coming out very soon. More than likely will be our very next podcast we release. So look forward to that. I know I am. I demand it. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Today with us, we have Nick, Jake. He's making his triumphant return, and John. So we have a full crew today. A lot of fun. So thank you guys for joining us today. How are you guys doing this wonderful evening?
Good.
All right.
Good.
All right.
All right, good. All right. We'll jump right into it today. We're going to get to our weird news article of the week. I love this. So this one is, again, from the Huffington Post. And the title of the article is Chain Smoking Marathoner Finishes in Under 3.5 hours, and he's done it before. Marathon runners are such a dedicated bunch that many fine-tune their breathing to maximize oxygen intake for the 26.2-mile race. But a 50-year-old Chinese man decided to take a more leisurely approach this month, chain smoking his way through the, I'm not even going to pronounce that, Xinjiang Marathon in Nande, China. It's Xinanjiang. I know it's like a...
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. And he did it in under 3.5 hours. He did it in under 3.5 hours. I can't even do that.
Smoking the whole way?
Just chain smoking the whole way. Chen... nicknamed Uncle Chen, finishes the arduous race on November 6th in 3 hours and 28 minutes, according to a certificate from race organizers, first reported in English language media by Canadian Running, which apparently is a Canadian, media that follows all over. So despite Chen's apparent aversion to oxygen, he came in 574th place out of 1,500. His time was nearly an hour faster than the 4-hour, 29-minute average finishing time for marathon runners worldwide, according to a 2021 study by Run Repeat. Photos of the grandpa have since gone viral on the Chinese social media platform Weibo. They left digital onlookers in such disbelief that marathon organizers shared his finishing certificate online to lay skepticism to rest. So yes, there will be a picture right in that article. And here, there he is. He's smoking a cigarette. He does not give a shit. Perhaps more surprising, Chen has successfully done this before. He ran the 2018 marathon, Guangzhou Marathon, while smoking in 3 hours and 36 minutes, and even improved upon that the next year, finishing the 2019 one 4 minutes faster. While cigarettes certainly aren't a performance-enhancing drug, some on Chinese social media question whether he was leaving his competitors in more than a cloud of dust. Smoking should be banned from the race, wrote one person, worried about the effects of secondhand smoke. Right. Cigarettes are widely known to cause shortness of breath, headaches, all that stuff. So I just thought that was it was pretty interesting. He chain smoked his that's the biggest, what was it? Is that even a low key flex? That's like in your face. Like seriously, chain smoking his way.
Jake, you're a nurse. What do you think? What do you think about that? You think that's like some sort of superpower this guy's got, or
I that's pretty impressive, to be honest. So,
what the article failed to mention is he's got a weird genetic mutation that he needs nicotine, excuse me, to process the oxygen. This is just his normal. He's smoking when he came out of the womb, dude.
It's kind of like Superman. He needs like the sun in order to be able to fly.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's kind of like the same.
The dude hasn't eaten it in like 20 years.
Right. He just lives off of nicotine.
Just smoke.
I can see him just like walking with like an IV bag full of like nicotine, just like.
Oh my god!
It's
like just
kind of like a
tar. Just
it's kind of like a new form of photosynthesis.
Oh god! And the fact he's finished that much faster than I ever would. That'd take me hours upon hours. That'd take me like 10 hours to finish.
For sure, I'd be
wouldn't even
beyond
attempt
the
it.
average time.
All right.
I wouldn't even attempt it.
I remember out of just spite, I walked like the mile that I was supposed to run in junior high. It took me like 13.5 minutes or something like that, and that was just me walking. This guy did 26 point or whatever it is, 2 miles in 3.5 hours. It's insane. So yeah,
that's pretty wild.
props to him. Good job, Chen. I hope to see you if you make it.
Yeah.
If you live.
Right.
Maybe you
consider
can do it again.
patches next time if it's the nicotine.
Right? He probably runs
That
out
dude
of
be doing
Patches marathon.
patches and the gum at the same time.
I think he's got like a carton of cigarettes in one hand and a lighter in the other.
Right,
Got to keep
exactly.
smoking. It's changed. How long does that take? Yeah. So right on. I think Marvel can get a new spokesman. Okay, we'll now move on to
Fuck Joe Camel.
actually Joe Camel. In the year 1996, there was a lawsuit against, I can't remember the tobacco company was, that finally got basically blamed for it. But they had to pay like $3.6 billion. And
What a segue.
yeah, and
Right.
and out of all the
Wow.
casualties that happened in advertising, they basically got gutted advertising cigarettes. Joe Camel was one to go.
$3.6 billion in 96 is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, and they,
Yeah.
That is.
I don't think that company's even around anymore. That cigarette company, because when they
Camel?
said the name, no, the Camel is, but like the company that got actually the 3.6 billion pinned on them, because it was all the companies, it was Marlboro, it was Camel, it was everyone that ever.
Right, right.
Now I kind of want to Google it and see who it was.
But they were the ones that got, I think it began with an L. Maybe they are still around, but I don't recall ever seeing their name. And I used to smoke cigarettes all the time. But yeah, Joe Camel got the axe only like a year or so after, being made like in their PR department. So that's why Joe Camel's no longer around, because they really gutted that ability for cigarette companies to advertise. But yeah, we will now move into our timeline of the year 1996.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Can we all get along? Can we get along?
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
What the hell were you thinking?
They served a search warrant on me, which allowed them to view and photograph my body, including my penis, my buttocks, my lower torso, thighs, and any other area that they wanted.
Susan, I'm gay.
That Diana, Princess of Wales, has in fact been killed in that car accident.
A Senate panel describes Y2K, the year 2000 computer bug, as a worldwide crisis.
And on January 18th, Lisa Marie Presley files for divorce from Michael Jackson, to the surprise of absolutely no one. On February 4th, Milli Vanilli band member Ram Pilatus is hospitalized after a man hits him over the head with a baseball bat while he was attempting to steal the man's car. When reporters asked why he was attempting to steal the car, Rob reportedly replied that he places the blame firmly on the rain. When asked if he was being serious, Rob claimed, "You got to blame it on something." On February 15th, former boxer turned actor Tommy Morrison, a.k.a. Tommy Gunn, in Rocky V, announces to the public that he has HIV. When asked if he was sure, Tommy responded, "I'm HIV positive." It wasn't the first time in history that joke has been made, and sadly won't be the last. Yeah, I was, kind of hesitant on that, but why not? What the hell? On March 28th, Phil Collins announces that he is leaving Genesis to focus on his solo career, a move that shocked the public, as they were already under the impression that he'd left in the 80s. On April 11th, Israeli government launches Operation Grapes of Wrath, consisting of massive attacks on Lebanon, in retaliation for terrorist attacks, and sparking off a violent series of retaliations from the Lebanon government under the Operation Vagina Monologues. On May 7th, actor-comedian Martin Lawrence causes a scene when he jumps into the middle of a busy intersection while waving a pistol. The local police were called and eventually restrained Martin. Lawrence's publicist released a statement following the event saying Martin had just seen his performance in A Thin Line Between Love and Hate and agreed with the countless negative reviews, particularly with Roger Ebert when he said that Martin Lawrence was the worst thing to happen to black people since slavery.
Ouch.
Yeah. Was that
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Maybe that might get edited out. On May 10th. It wasn't me. I mean, it was Roger Ebert. Swear to God.
Well, if he really said that, then I mean, editing's not necessary. He really said that.
Yeah, if he said that.
No, he didn't.
You're just quoting him.
No, that's yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's dead. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not really saying anything. It's saying that slavery was bad, but that somehow Martin Lawrence is somewhere in this. Anyway, on May 10th, a sudden storm engulfs Mount Everest with several climbing teams high on the mountain, leaving 8 people dead. By the end of the month, at least 4 other climbers die in the worst season of fatalities on the mountain to date, not including the disastrous 1929 Mount Everest sled race. June 26th, Sammy Hagar leaves Van Halen after sobering up from years of hard drugs. On July 1st, Tickle Me Elmo debuts in stores across America. It would become the hottest toy of the holiday season, with some dolls selling for upwards of $1,000. The craze would reach its peak in December and fall into the depths of hell when a local man used one as a cum rag. July 3rd.
Oh, God.
On July 3rd, Boris Yeltsin is reelected as president of Russia after the second round of elections and the 50th round of absolute. On July 27th, the Centennial Olympic Park bombing at the Summer Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia, kills 1 person and injures 111. Security guard Richard Jewell would be the first to notice a suspicious package and start to clear out the area before the bombs went off. He would be regarded as a hero by the media, only to be villainized by them just a few weeks later. Jewell was considered.
They made
a
movie about that.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. It was a really great movie.
Jewell was considered a top suspect after fitting a psychological profile of the lone bomber. The press would get wind of Jewell being on the FBI Persons of Interest list and release that info to the public. Jewell would later be cleared of any wrongdoing by local authorities and the FBI, but after months of constant harassment, the damage had already been done. Fresh off the high of the OJ trial, the 24-hour news cycle claimed its next victim, all in the name of TV ratings and financial gain. Clint Eastwood would later make a movie about this event, but sadly, Jewell would pass away in 2007 and wouldn't get to see it. The thing is, in 2007, right before he died, he got, I think the governor of Georgia, maybe the senator, I don't know, somebody apologized to him. And that was pretty much the gist of it. But yeah, that guy's whole life was like, fuck. As you guys rightly said, yes, Clint Eastwood made a movie about that. I believe it's called Jewel or Richard Jewell. Is it called Richard Jewell? Do you guys know?
I think it might be actually called Richard Jewell.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yep.
Yeah, the actor who plays
excellent.
plays him is fantastic. Yeah. He's also in like I, Tonya. He's in an upcoming movie soon. Something about coupons.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Something about coupons?
Yeah, check it out. I don't know what it's called, but it looks good because he's in it.
Is it just called Karen? Sorry.
It might be.
I think my favorite role he's ever done was on It's Always Sunny when he was the Juggalo kid. And he was like, yo, dude, you ever had sex before? Yeah. I know what sex is.
That was him?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Yeah.
He's funny.
On August 23rd, Osama bin Laden writes the Declaration of Jihad on the Americans occupying the country of the 2 sacred places, a call for the removal of American military forces from Saudi Arabia. The letter was met with blatant disregard from U.S. authorities, as no one in the government could read Arabic. On September 29th, the Nintendo 64 is released in North America to rave reviews and stocked shelves for the adoring public to purchase with ease. It was truly the golden age of gaming. Despite disagreements from developers, Nintendo insisted on using cartridges for the 64, forcing gaming devs to jump ship. One of those notably being Squaresoft, which would leave Nintendo for Sony, a move that would launch the PlayStation into the stratosphere, maintaining their position at the top of gaming for the next 15 years. That was huge. But yeah, they stuck with cartridges. There are some reasons for it, but the overall trend was clearly CDs. But Nintendo just didn't do it. On November 3rd.
Was that just like a money thing, or?
No, because the cartridges are more expensive.
Interesting.
Yeah, they just stuck to it because I mean the Super Nintendo had cartridges, so maybe they just didn't advance at that point. I mean, I don't really know.
They may not have the machines or like the necessary technology, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, but the PlayStation came out about the same times.
from my understanding, it was the cartridges could do things well, but they didn't have enough memory on them. You couldn't store enough, so like games were going to get bigger. Like just for example, like I said, SquareSoft, so that became Square Enix. Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy was Nintendo's on that system, and it switched to Sony because Sony could actually hold their game. That's why it's not. No, it just said the internet connection is unstable.
That was me.
All right, so there's a few reasons for why the cartridges were used, but like I said, on the whole, the trend was going towards CDs, so it's interesting. But we'll talk more about the 64 later. On November 3rd, Kobe Bryant makes his NBA debut for the Los Angeles Lakers. He would play a total of 6 minutes, recording 1 block and 1 rebound. It would be one of the few times in his career where he would finish pointless. However, assists were about the same. On November 5th, incumbent Democratic President Bill Clinton defeats his Republican challenger, Bob Dole, and Reform Party candidate Ross Perot. He's back. Why not? Why not, Ross? After winning re-election, Clinton told the American public to suck his willy, which was his campaign slogan that year. On November 24th, Crowded House plays its farewell concert on the steps of Sydney Opera House in Australia, in front of an audience of almost 200,000. The band subsequently reunites a decade later with a new studio album and tour. The World Was Furious. And on December 25th, 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey is found beaten and strangled in the basement of her family's home in Boulder, Colorado. The tragedy would grip the nation well into the next year as local authorities and the FBI struggled to piece together the case and locate JonBenet's killer. To this day, this case remains unsolved. And that will be it for our timeline of 1996. You guys remember? I don't know if you guys do, but like the JonBenet Ramsey thing.
I was gonna say that JonBenet Ramsey. That's still crazy how like, I mean, obviously they assumed like it was the father at first and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, tell you just how it was.
Honestly,
apparently, I guess, or I'm not really sure.
What do you think,
I've seen bits and pieces of what's going on. I'm pretty sure it's still the parents, like they're just covering up.
Right. And it just has.
Yeah, I think the general consensus, or the underlining, at least for most common accepted thought, is that it was an accidental death, and the parents are trying to play it off like it was something else. More than likely, something else. But I still think I agree with John. I believe it was the parents. I think most people do. I mean, how does that happen? Why?
That's crazy.
Who's got a hit out on a 6-year-old? On Christmas, or what was that? It had been Christmas Eve. So found on Christmas Day. What's going on there? So
I mean,
but
maybe she's just a really bad kid, and Santa said, "Fuck it."
He showed up early.
Yeah, Santa Slater
showed up early. Santa Slay.
Yeah, Santa Slater.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm keeping the Martin Lawrence joke then. If we're gonna go with that, I'm keeping the Martin Lawrence joke. If we can talk about Santa Claus murdering John.
I had no problem with the Martin Lawrence.
Oh, I know. I'm just joshing. just pulling your chain, yanking it, nice and tight. All right, let's move on to. All right, we will now move on to movies of the year 1996.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
What's in the box?
He's beginning to believe.
You can't handle the truth.
I must have drank me about 15 Dr. Peppers. You are a child plaything. I see dead people.
First appearance are dead. Hold on to your butt.
I'm the king of the world.
All right, I think that must bring me about 15 Dr. Peppers. It's just so ridiculous. Laugh. I don't know. It just does. Yeah, of all the lines, that's the one that kills me. I have to
that's a good one.
Not try to laugh in the middle of it. Number 10 in top 10 movies in terms of gross for the year 1996. The 10 highest grossing movie of the year was First Wives Club, with Diane Keaton and a couple other people, maybe Whitney Houston. Let's just throw her in there. Yeah, I don't really remember that movie at all.
Hell,
honestly, it's not my demographic. So I'm not the demographic for that movie, and it's a mutual thing of just completely uninterested. So I guess it's a good movie, but probably not. But probably not. That's my guess.
Probably should have been a straight to TV, Lifetime special.
Lifetime, right? Yeah.
Hallmark, yeah.
Yeah. put on VHS. On number 9, highest grossing movie of 1996 was A Time to Kill, with Matthew McConaughey and Samuel L. Jackson, Sandra Bullock, Bullock. Yeah, I remember there's that line, Samuel Jackson, where he says, "Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell."
Yeah.
He hides in like the closet and just guns down the people that like assaulted his daughter. And so the big thing in that movie, the breakout for Matthew McConaughey, was his closing argument, where he had the jury close their eyes and go through what that girl went through that day. And then at the end, he says, "Now imagine she was white." And it's just like a light bulb essentially in the movie goes on in everybody's head. And he's acquitted. So have you guys seen that movie? Any thoughts?
I have
on that?
not.
I've seen it. Yeah, it is a very good movie.
I haven't seen it. I've wanted to see it. And I just can't ever bring myself to do it.
It's not necessarily an easy watch.
No.
But like if you're in the mood for compelling drama, it's a good book too, and dealing with obviously race relations in the South. So if you feel like brushing up on that, A Time to Kill, definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
For number 8, in terms of highest grossing movies in '96, we've got 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close.
Is that Glenn Close one?
Yeah. How many times? I've only watched that movie like once.
Yeah,
I think I've barely seen it once, like bits and pieces. It was not attention grabbing.
No, just remember I looked at like some like screenshots of it, and I didn't realize that the guy who plays House, Hugh Laurie, or whatever his name is, he's like one of the criminals. Yeah. He's one of the like Horace or something like that. In the cartoon, the tall, skinny guy. That's Dr. House in 101 Dalmatians. But I
think Glenn Close played a better pirate. Let's be real.
A lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that. Glenn Close was not the boo box. The boo box. Put her in there. Yeah. Looks good with a beard. The next movie.
Yeah.
7th highest grossing movie of '96 is a movie called The Birdcage. Fantastic film.
I love that movie.
Yes, Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, based off a play.
Yeah.
You can tell when you watch it. Gene Hackman's in it. Gene Hackman. Any particular scenes from that? Have you seen it, John? Have you seen it, Jake?
No. I've heard of it, but I haven't ever seen it.
I may have seen it a long time ago, but I honestly don't remember.
I think one of my favorite scenes, and honestly, it's probably the most infamous scene in the movie. If you're familiar with it, it's when they're sitting at like dinner, basically, and Robin's character is trying to show him how to be more manly. Trying to show that they're not, gay, basically.
Right.
Because their family's so conservative, and he's going to meet the parents. It's the whole thing. So he's just trying to teach him to be more manly, and that is just hysterical with all the things that ends up happening. And like, don't move your hand the way you do, and it just can't help it. Just basically just being like, don't be who you are. And then the comedy that ensues from that.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. That whole scene, and Nathan Lane, being as womanly as he can be. It's just like, it's so
good. It's so good.
My favorite scene is one of them. I think it's in the middle of the dinner scene, and he's got Hank Azaria cooking, who's another gay fellow in the movie, but he's like the butler, and he's just ridiculous. And Robin Williams like slips. He legitimately slips and falls. And in the middle of the scene, he just keeps going. He just starts. It's Robin Williams. He's going to ad lib.
Right.
But if you look at that scene, he starts to laugh. He breaks and starts to laugh, and totally like. But they just kept it in there. It's really funny. I recommend it. We'll move on now to the number 6, sixth highest grossing movie of 1996 was The Nutty Professor. It's, you remember that movie?
Oh boy.
I haven't seen this movie in a very long time at all.
Yeah, I remember watching it. Like, I actually watched it several times as a kid, but like looking at like back at it as adults, it's just like, oh god, like
right. I think Dave Chappelle's the comedian from the club that makes fun of Eddie. Go on.
Oh yeah. He is.
He hasn't changed a bit.
Unfortunately, that kind of movie spawned the Tyler Perry movies in the future.
Oh God.
And
oh man,
just all
yeah.
Need a time machine.
I can't even really think I can't even think of a good part in that movie in The Nutty Professor. That's like, wow, how funny is that? You know, that's a classic film, classic part in the
Right.
film.
Like this is a classic scene.
There's like nothing about it. When I was a kid, like Jake was saying, like, yeah, for sure. Oh man, it's funny, but you know, I didn't give a shit now.
Now
whatever.
it's a completely different type of humor.
Right. But we'll move on now to the next top 5 in 1996 was the movie Ransom with Mel Gibson, where he's like, "Give me back my son," screaming on like TV. It's like
it's Mel Gibson.
Yep. You remember that movie we saw in like we were watching Django Unchained, and that Nick and I were in theaters, and I can't remember the name of that movie, but it was very similar to that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
like, stay away from my family.
Right. Yeah. Give me back my son. Ransom.
Yeah.
In theaters now.
I remember I just smirked a little bit, like kind of quietly, and looked at you when and then as soon as that happened, you just burst out laughing in the theater.
Right. Oh yeah. I remember my friend Adam.
And
he
someone
started
laughed
laughing
down below you as well.
Yeah.
Adam laughed down below you. Yeah.
Oh man.
Good times.
Nick, you're I'm gonna have to chop this up a bit here, but Nick, your mic, start talking. I can just edit this back later, but you're going into red, so you cut out every now and then. I'm not sure why, if you're like up against the mic or whatnot. If it's not, if it is what it is. I'll just.
Has this better?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do that then.
Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so all right, now we'll move on to at number 4, top grossing movie of 1996, number 4, The Rock, with Sean Connery and Nick Cage. Oh. I hope you brought insurance. There's a stupid fucking scene. It's a Jerry Bruckheimer film where explosions are going on, you know. And and he's driving in like a Hummer down San Francisco. Sean Connery is, and he's just like, you know, everything's blowing up. San Francisco's like burning down in flames. And Jerry Bruckheimer. I remember that's the one line that it stuck out to me, is that he just yells that out like it's supposed to be like no one's gonna hear him.
Hilarious, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope you have insurance. And okay. And then there's
Jesus.
Do you have any favorite scenes from The Rock or anything that sticks out to you?
Like the scene that like I always remember is like when they have to like inject themselves or whatever, like in the chest.
Oh right,
yeah. That's the one thing that like always like sticks out. It's like, oh god, that'd be like god awful, like horrible to do,
right?
Or whatever the toxin or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
That's like literally the only thing like that really stands out for the part.
John, you have anything to add to The Rock?
My favorite scene is near
the
end when you know when the screen goes black and the credits come.
When it's over,
and then you can get up and leave.
You know, you can leave in the middle. You don't have to stay through the whole thing. No one's holding a gun to your head unless they are. Watch The Rock.
I mean, watch it. Oh my god, that's.
I mean, I think Sean Connery played a better dragon that year, but you know,
that's true.
We'll go past it.
Oh
boy.
All right, we're into top 3 here. The third highest grossing film of 1996 was Mission Impossible. Thomas Cruise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I loved this movie when I. I loved this movie when I was a kid. Loved it.
Fucking Maverick went all secret spy. Shit.
Yeah.
Love the exploding gum.
Yep. Emilio.
Oh.
Emilio got his eyes poked out like the first 15 minutes. True story. The beginning of the movie is filmed in Prague, Czech Republic, capital of the Czech Republic. I've been to Prague, and I've been on that same bridge that Thomas Cruise and what's his face, John Voight, the guy that George Costanza bought a car from. You know, he's got his hands covered in blood, and he like falls over that bridge. I've been on that bridge and the building that they're in the beginning where Emilio gets his eyes poked out. I was on like a ferry of some sort, some boat that was taking us around the city. We went right by that building, but yeah, it was really, I mean, that's a beautiful place. But yeah, Mission Impossible, special effects good, story still holds up. It's actually a good movie. Not so much the sequel, but yeah, but that one's definitely good. Do you have any favorite parts from Mission Impossible, John, or anything that sticks out to you?
With me?
Yes, you.
Oh,
I mean, everyone really likes the initial grab of like when he's like going in, that like white
Hanging
room.
from the wire. Yeah, hanging from the wire. Yep.
And then the sweat drops on his glove and he catches it.
Yeah.
The dude up there with him freaks out because of like a rat or something.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
a rat
yeah.
in the
Yep,
vents,
yeah,
Like
that's
you're some hard ass spy that can break into the shit and a rat freaks you out. Like
Right. Exactly.
that's bad writing. Like you should have got like a cramp would have been more like believable.
It's one thing.
Like, oh no,
it's so not filthy or dirty at all in that place. And
I know.
Just the
it's a
one
random
single rat.
Right. Just one single rat.
I feel
Looks
like there's
it
a
just
counter.
got let out of a cage too.
Right.
Don't you guys know that
they tripped the
like,
sensor and it released the rat? That's what happened.
Don't you know that most like high end places have security rats? They just keep up the fence.
No, it's true.
For
Security,
specific reasons.
they're paid with the best cheese.
Yeah, they did not take that into account. The rat, they certainly didn't.
They're like, oh god, they got security rats.
Right. It's like they got retina scans, they got motion sensors,
security rats.
But we did not think about the security rats.
No one thinks of the security rats. There's just one.
It's one.
Yeah, it's
He's
so
underpaid.
suspicious. It's just so like not. There's no reason for a rat to be there. Fuck, I
No,
think like
no,
a
not at all.
spider or something, but not a rat. I don't know. What you can talk about that for a while, but we'll move on now to number 2 in the second highest grossing film of 1996 was the movie Twister.
That
Yeah.
is a classic.
That's a
good
classic
movie.
there.
I think we saw that in the drive-in.
We did.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in it where a drive-in
Yeah.
gets,
Oh no!
gets destroyed by a tornado. And for a second,
What
you're
irony.
like looking around.
Right? Oh man!
Right? Yeah, no, that was a fantastic movie. Still holds up today. Really great.
Oh yeah.
My only issue is
no.
the end when they've got an F5 right over them, and what they've done is hooked a leather belt to like a pipe that's in, it's like an irrigation pipe or something like that.
Steel
and
bar or something.
and
I
it
can't
manages
remember.
to.
Yeah.
It's
To, like,
lifted.
yeah,
get-
to like
they
a
get
well.
shredded
Yeah.
by-
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't. The semi that doesn't like it lifts up like it's nothing, like a piece of paper, but this little leather belt that's gonna hold them. Get the fuck out of here. But
Not even that. There's not even like any shrapnel.
Right.
There's not
Right,
Yeah,
right.
they should have been like
slamming right
ripped
into 'em.
apart by
Right.
shrapnel.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
for sure.
They should have been Swiss people.
Yeah.
Like just
yeah,
They would just.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
plot armor, man.
yeah.
Saves you every time from F5 tornadoes.
F5.
that what's the name of that actor? He was in that movie.
Bill Pullman,
Yeah, no,
John Paxton,
Seymour.
Seymour Hoffman,
Seymour
Philip
Hoffman.
Hoffman.
Seymour
Oh
Hoffman.
yeah. He's in that.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
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 It's like a very quirky character.
Yeah, he's the comic relief in a sense.
Yeah.
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 Philip Seymour Hoffman's in that movie. Yeah, obviously. What's her face? Helen Hunt.
Yeah. Helen Hunt,
Bill Paxton. The guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the friend who goes crazy.
Oh yeah.
He's in it too. And Carrie Ells, the guy who plays in Princess Bride, he's the bad guy. He's not in it for the science. He's in it for the money. He's the guy that the other team that's got way better funded, like whatever the hell's going on there. They've got newer trucks,
Right.
all state of the art equipment, and they're running around with like a piece of plywood and stuff.
It's like
basically the bad guy team for the Mighty Ducks.
It's like the
Right.
rich kid in any like kids movie, that's got the rich dad and it's got all the cool gadgets.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, we will now move into can anybody guess the top grossing movie of the year 1996? Any
Independence
guesses?
Day.
It sank. The Titanic. It sank.
Titanic. Okay, we got Titanic, we got Independence Day. Nick, do you have any guesses?
No clue.
No clue? Jake, you are right. It is Independence Day. John, Titanic is a year later.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yes, Independence Day. Thoughts?
I mean,
Welcome to Earth.
Go ahead. Yeah, welcome to Earth.
Oh, who's got the floor?
Let's
You.
do Jake
Good.
first.
Oh, okay. I would say it's definitely at the time. Definitely, I mean, it's a big blockbuster. It's it's a good like popcorn like movie, for what it is. But as a whole, I wouldn't say like it's it's like the best movie ever or anything.
Right.
But it's if you want a fun, exciting, bunch of explosions. Just it's a good, like I said, good popcorn summer film. That's what it is. What it is. But other than that, if you're going to compare it to, some of the better like movies of all time, it doesn't sit anywhere in that same room. But that's kind of my take on it.
Gotcha. Nick.
Yeah, this definitely basically what Jake said, but it is definitely, if you take it seriously, it is a dumpster fire of a film. But it has its quotes, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's so weird. It's strange because it's such a different time, because if this same exact movie came out today, which they've made similar movies since, if it came out today, it would not have the same popularity it did then. There's something about at that time period when this movie came out that made it so infamous, because it's really not that good, but it's just it just became like a pop culture thing, everyone remembers the lines from this movie.
Oh yeah, especially the oh sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, I mean that's a bit. That was all I had.
I was just gonna say, especially like the I think the one of the big like iconic is the speech at the very end. The president. I can't think of what that actor's name is. That's probably like the
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman. Yeah. His won't go in like this. Whatever. This is the Independence. The night. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right. John, do you have any thoughts on?
Well, I mean, in '96, this movie was the shit. Like, it was the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
And I would say it's still held up, like mostly, but like you're saying nowadays, it wouldn't. It's got a lot of holes. It's got a lot of problems. But for what it is when it was, it was great. It was great. But yeah, I mean, I go back and I watch it now, and I'm just like, well, that was cool, and ooh, that's super cringe,
Yep.
Like they spend all this money on all the special effects, but there's a scene where like the Will Smith's family's in the tunnel, and the shit's coming through the tunnel, and they have to make it through the dog. This dog jumps through the door, and like the fire is the most fake fire you can ever see that goes past them. It was terrible.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So there's a past podcast that we've already brought up, and it's not even in the we brought up Independence Day. It might have been in the 90s, or maybe in sometime in 2000s, but I think it was a Roland Emmerich film or something that we were talking about, all that stuff. But anyway, we were going on about it, and I picked that exact scene, John. I was like, there's a scene where a dog's running and the fire is just so bad.
It's like someone held up like a painted fireboard behind him real quick as the dog went by. Like you could like cardboard and kid drawing with crayon. Like that's pretty bad. It's pretty fucking bad.
Oh god. You see like the film cut in between it. It's just really choppy. There's
an extra in the corner.
Right. Yeah, that movie, I've watched it again semi-recently. It's got, I think the beginning's pretty good. I like the way it like starts off. But as soon as things kind of get rolling, like once the aliens attack everyone, at that point, everything's just kind of like a slow trajectory downhill, and then like a brief moment where it just kind of like picks up. It's with the president's speech there, and then it just jumps off the cliff, because the ending with the Quaid fella, it was just like,
oh god,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
So I'm just wondering how
anybody fly a plane? Yeah, I was a crop duster. Good, get in this F-14.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You should be able to fight this, super.
It'd have been funnier,
high-tech airplane.
Yeah,
it'd have been funnier and better if while he's flying it up, he would have said, "Shitter's full."
Right, a reference. Right.
Or like he just goes in, like he just, hey boys, I'm back, and then it's just a outward scene, like shot, and you just see the small little dot that he is go up, and just nothing happens.
Nothing happened.
It was all for nothing.
Right.
The thing that also gets me is like the whole computer aspect of it.
Yes.
Like, we gave it a virus. I'm like, come on, dude.
Gave it a
computing power on that thing that traveled like I'm sorry, a
Like,
DOS
yeah.
virus isn't gonna cut it. You know,
Yeah.
this is 96. We're talking Windows, what, 3.1 at this
Yeah.
time? Like,
95
I'm sorry,
had just
what?
come out. Yeah.
They needed it.
95,
These-
yeah.
they needed floppy
These aliens
disk.
got Super Norton protection.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure your little 30 kilobyte virus isn't gonna.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You're just gonna spam everybody's emails on the ship? Like,
Oh,
They're aliens.
man.
The aliens getting all this clickbait.
the amount, yeah. No, there's malware everywhere.
Right.
I just bought all of Amazon. All right. Anyway.
So now, so because we just recently watched a Roland Emmerich film, if you guys don't recall that, just the other week.
Oh yeah.
Now, would you say this is Independence Day is probably the best of his films?
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying though. It's just like I don't know if it's that he got worse or if it's the same film. Because what was it, Moonfall?
Moonfall.
Yeah, we watched
Yeah.
fucking
It's
Moonfall.
Oh,
this-
good
it
lord.
is-
He
it's
did
the
that
same
one, too?
film.
Well, remember,
Like,
like I
it's-
made that
yeah.
point because it's like literally beat
Right.
for beat. Like there's the government, there's like
Right.
somebody that discovers something, and he's like, oh, I got to
Right.
get to the government. You have
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
same thing in Independence Day,
Right.
where you have
So,
Jeff
yeah.
Goldblum, like, oh, I got these signals, and goes to the
Honestly,
government.
it's probably the thing is, it's he's probably gotten better as a filmmaker, but what
I
it
don't
is
know,
is just
man.
that. Well, what it
Moonfall's-
is, it's awful. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we see Independence Day with like rose tinted glasses.
Mhm.
Right.
It's not
Right.
good,
True.
but we watched it when we were younger, and it had a part in our lives that we remember. So when we watch it, it reminds us of that time in our lives, but also
Yeah.
the movie, and the quotable lines and stuff. But yeah, that someone will have that same experience with Moonfall, and God help them, but
God,
it's
that's
true.
yeah.
If someone had the same experience with 2012, Lord
Can you
Christ
do like the day
Almighty
after
help
tomorrow?
them.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Right.
I mean, to
too.
be fair though, Godzilla came. I'm actually looking up right now. Godzilla came out 2 years later. So I was 6 when Independence came out, and 8
Right.
and Godzilla. Like Godzilla.
Oh, Roland Emmerich did
sucks.
Godzilla too, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
it's
Godzilla.
terrible.
Godzilla's
Ugh.
garbage. But Independence Day, like I would have no problem if it was like it was on like FX or something, like on a whatever day I had nothing else to watch. Like sure, whatever. Put it in the
Fucking
background, but.
Ferris
Godzilla.
Bueller,
Oof.
man, he carried fucking Godzilla.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Fucking Matthew Broderick. Anyway,
Oh man, I'll get to that movie. Was it? You said 2 years? We'll get there in 98.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, that will do it for the top 10 movies in terms of gross for the year 1996. All right. We will now move on to my personal film selections of 1996, and I'm going to start us off here with a Disney classic, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I love the music in this film. I think it's very good.
Nice.
Very good.
It is great. Yeah.
One of the darker
Yes.
Disney movies.
It is darker. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. Was it Jason Alexander's one of the what do you call it? Gargoyles. Yeah.
Gargoyles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But very, very good. Very underrated. I don't think people think of Hunchback as much as like obviously it's like The Lion King is like the Disney movie of the 90s.
Right.
If not that, then Toy Story or something. But
Right.
Hunchback,
Yeah.
I think holds its own. I think it actually holds better than some other Disney films
Mhm.
that came around after. Do you guys have any things from Notre Dame, Hunchback of Notre Dame that you like?
When I was a kid, right,
Yeah.
and that movie's out, like I was watching it and I couldn't believe they said the word hell in a Disney movie because the dude
Right.
was singing Hellfire, that
Yeah,
song or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, but
Turn down the TV, make sure mom
yeah, I
and
was
dad
like,
are there.
oh, dad's gonna blow his lid,
Right.
Right.
It's going through the window.
What are you watching, Jonathan?
What did they just say? The fuck did they just say? In all right. We're gonna unless you guys have something else to add for Hunchback of Notre Dame. We'll get
No,
moving.
no.
Okay.
Not really.
All right.
no.
We'll,
Underrated Disney movie.
yes.
Yeah.
This one I'm gonna put down as my favorite film of '96. This to me is the best film of '96. It's there's some others that are quite good as well, but for me this is it. And that movie is Fargo.
Oh yeah. Fargo's a
yeah.
good one.
Yeah,
Fargo
Hell
for
yeah.
me is the best film of 1996. I absolutely love that
Coen
film.
Brothers.
The dialogue, the story. I love how they say it's based on a true story, which makes people think this actually happened. The Fargo, yeah, before I get into what I really like about it, I'll go around and if you guys have seen it, something you like, some particular scene or something that stuck out to you, feel free. Jake, have you seen Fargo? I take it you have.
Yes, I have.
Do you have anything that sticks out to you, or something favorite scene or something?
Off the top of my head, I mean, like the whole movie as a whole is pretty good.
I've actually been in a similar scene like Fargo. Like there's a scene where they're driving late night on the road and you see a car way ahead of you with the red lights, and it's snowing heavily, and you're going slow and the car's ahead of you, but then you just see them, they're not there anymore. You know what happened to them. I've actually experienced that kind of like in real life, but I found this person actually went off the road and got stuck. I tried to help them, but I couldn't get them. So, but it was it was really weird.
Did you just drive away and say, good luck to you?
Well, no, I asked them if they live close by, if they had anyone they can call, and just all that stuff, and asked if they needed me to stay with them while they could, you know what I mean, like all that stuff while they waited, and but no, it was it.
Let's see. Yeah. Jake, do you have anything that you remember from Fargo?
When they first meet, what's his name? That actor's name?
Steve Buscemi.
I'm trying to think of any movies. Not Steve Buscemi.
William H. Macy.
Yes. That's his name. Yeah, I think for the first time, like they're kind of mixed up at the bar. That's kind of that's I think that's probably one of the scenes that sticks out to me off the top of my head.
Oh right.
Just because it kind of sets like the rest, I guess, the tone for the rest of the movie, or like how things kind of unfold.
Right.
So
I love how they talk in the movie.
I love that.
Yeah.
Too.
I just, it's like, oh, that True Coat that comes on at the they do that at the factory there.
Yeah.
Like I always say, like, you got them moose tickets there? Are you kidding?
Make them eggs, Margie.
Yeah.
You're darn tootin'. You're darn tootin'.
Yeah.
John.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any favorite?
Man.
I mean, I love the whole movie. It's the Coen Brothers movie. I
Yeah.
don't think they've made a bad movie.
Yeah.
So
my favorite scene is probably, oh my God, Mike Yana. What's his name? The guy who goes on he calls up Marge, and he says, Margie, hi, it's Mike.
Yeah.
He's like, hi, well, don't you know? I'll meet you at the Radisson. It's nice, because it's a good place to meet. And so they meet up the Radisson, and he's like, oh, how you doing, Margie? Yeah, son of a Gunnarsson. So you married Neil, son of a Gunnarsson. Oh wow. Yeah, so you married Mike? Yeah, no, she died from the leukemia, and then he starts going on about, he's like, okay if I sit over here next to you? No, I think it'd be better if you sat over there, Mike, so I can see you. Oh, right. So, and he starts going on about, he's like, I work for Honeywell, which is a engineer film, which you could do a lot worse, Just like, okay.
Yeah, it's Mike Yanagita.
Mike Yanagita.
Like
yes, Mike
like
Yanagita. And he finishes the dinner with crying. He just starts, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so lonely. I made a Tinder profile where it was Mike Yanagita, and my bio was I'm looking for a super lady.
That's incredible.
Super lady. I work at Honeywell, which you could do a lot better. You could do a lot worse, I should say. I had a wife, but she died from the leukemia. I'm so lonely.
Oh man, could you not get
like
any
messages
messages?
on that now?
No, I don't.
No messages, no likes.
I deleted that whole thing. No one said anything. No one even said, "I like what you've done here." I don't think anybody fucking knows. So
no, because they just see this poor sad Asian man and they swipe no. It says Mike Yanagita and they go no. I'm good on that.
It's like 42, engineer.
It says looking for special lady. Come on,
super
dude.
lady.
Super lady.
Yeah.
Looking for a super lady. But yeah, Fargo definitely a favorite. My favorite of '96. We'll get moving on to the next one. Primal Fear. You guys seen that movie? You haven't seen that movie? I recommend it highly. It's Edward Norton's first breakout film. With what's his name? Richard Gere and Edward Norton. Don't want to say too much about it if you haven't seen it. But it's got a nice twist. I'm just gonna say that. But if you guys haven't seen it, I don't want to talk about it too much. We can just move on. But I highly recommend Primal Fear. And if you have, and you feel like, expressing something that stuck out to you, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I just really like the acting in it. I mean, the acting was fantastic.
Right.
Made me really like Edward Norton even more. It wasn't the first movie I've seen with him. I think the first movie I saw with him was American History X. But this is like some of his earlier stuff, and watching this was just so good. It's really just awesome from front to back.
Yes,
just
really
a
is.
great crime drama, worth watching several times because of the twists. So
yeah,
it has some replayability and
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film. Must watch.
Jake, have you seen Primal Fear?
Primal Fear? No, I haven't.
Okay, all right, yeah. Put that on your list. I think you'd like it. We'll move on now to another personal film selection of '96. The movie Sleepers, fantastic film. It stars Brad Pitt.
This movie.
It stars Kevin Bacon. God, who else does it star? They got a whole. I think it's like. I can't remember her name.
Oh yeah.
Let me look it up.
What is it? Kevin Bacon and Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt.
I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, Brad Pitt.
Mini
Driver. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a excellent film. Excellent film. It's also got some, be careful.
John Williams did the music for it too.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he did.
I never knew that.
Really?
John Williams. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long film, but again, excellent film. Can't recommend it enough. If you've never seen it, I don't want to give away too much, but the actors are all excellent. They do a fantastic job. The story is really good. It's captivating. It draws you in, and it doesn't let go. I can't recommend it enough. Sleepers. John, have you seen Sleepers?
I have not.
Yes, I recommend Sleepers. Fantastic film. We move on now to another one. I've chosen Scream. Gotta go with classic Scream.
Oh, classic.
Slasher film. Brought that back. Wes Craven nod to it. Basically, kind of helped popularize it on Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. Freddy Krueger. You could say arguably is just as popular as them, if not more so. Freddy Krueger. I don't see Mike Myers having a rap video. But yeah, it's a Scream. I mean, was it Henry Winkler's in it? I think he's like the principal. He gets killed. That's great. There's a nod from Wes Craven. He plays the janitor for a second, the director of the film. He's dressed in Freddy Krueger clothes. But I remember watching that as a kid, like a teenager, or not, kind of like a teenager, just preteen almost, where I'm like, okay, like I think I was that 10 years old then. So, but yeah, Scream came out and it was around junior high time, so that was cool if you'd watch the movie Scream. But other than that, it's just kind of your run of the mill slasher film, except for the tropes that it mocks and almost adds to it in a way, because it makes fun of itself in the sense that it's like, oh, if you've had sex, you're definitely gonna die. This person's all these little character tropes that happen in all these slasher films. Jamie Kennedy goes through them one by one, which was a different take on it, which I thought was pretty neat. But we'll move on now to a classic. We'll move on to a classic Adam Sandler film here with Happy Gilmore. Happy fucking Gilmore. Yeah, it's wow. Well, before I say anything, John, what do you like about Happy Gilmore? One scene. You had to pick one scene.
Oh my god,
one scene.
I think of the time where Shooter McGavin's gonna go make a putt or something, and he's like, the guy behind him, the big guy, he's like, Happy can make that, blah 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 blah, and he's like, well, yeah. He turns around, and he starts yelling at me. He's like, oh my god.
He wears the classic t-shirt. It says guns don't kill people, I kill people.
Yes. That dude's a fucking giant.
Yeah. Oh man. Nick, any favorite scene from Happy Gilmore? One scene to pick out. What would you pick out?
I mean, probably the infamous Bob Barker
scene.
I mean, everyone loves that scene.
Price is Right, bitch.
Yeah. They actually redid that years later. Like they met up years later and kind of redid a whole fighting scene.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a hilarious, ridiculous movie, especially with like Chubbs,
right?
And what happens to Chubbs and stuff,
right?
So funny.
Jake, one scene, Happy Gilmore. Anything? You had to pick
I would say probably the one with Bob Barker, but I'm gonna go with the one where it's Ben Stiller and his mom, his grandma.
Yes.
When he finally leaves his grandma and his grandma's like, "Oh, can I have a nice little cup of warm milk or whatever?" And Ben Stiller's like, "Yeah, how about you have a nice cup of shut the hell up?" Like Ben Stiller's character, and that's great, and that's just probably, I'm gonna say that just as a male nurse myself, that's just fantastic.
Oh God, I love that. I think
puts them on gardening duty.
Yeah, it's like my back hurt, or no, it's my fingers hurt because he's like having to make knitted like blankets or whatever.
Yeah,
he's got like some scheme going on. He's like on the phone
he's
trying
got like
to
a
sell.
sweatshop going on.
Yeah, he's got a
like
sweatshop going on. And little grandma's like, my fingers hurt, and he's like, well, your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty.
I think he's uncredited in that film too.
Oh, really?
As far as I think he is.
I think you're right.
I don't think he's actually.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's a shame because those are some good scenes there.
Well, I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
Oh, that
he just didn't. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
He no.
Interesting.
Well, he didn't want the clout. He just wanted to be part of it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I think the scene that sticks out to me, at least one of the things I remember when I first started watching it, is Happy Gilmore scene where he's outside his apartment or his girlfriend's apartment or something like that. She's like locked him out or something like that. Or no, she leaves the apartment and he goes to the buzzer and he's like, "Hey, stop. Listen, I need you. Come on, baby." And then he starts like singing, "I want to kiss you all over," and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden there's like this like old Asian lady like listening in, and you don't think anything of it. And then he wakes up in the morning and I think his grandma called him, like she got to come over to my house or something like that. And he's like, "All right, I'll be right there." And like around the corner, then the elderly Asian lady walks up wearing his hockey jersey and nothing else. "I ate your breakfast."
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's great. That's such a great little edit.
Oh man.
All right, we will now move on to the next one, John. This one's for you because I actually haven't seen it all the way or enough to really give any in-depth description of it or talks about it. But Mars Attacks for 19.
Hell yeah.
It
go
was
ahead.
a movie that was made purely just for it's like a comic relief movie. That's all it is.
Yeah. Should
Like
not be taken
it's
seriously.
Yeah, it's beyond ridiculous. I love it. And there's so many actors in it, so many cameos.
yeah.
Like everyone at that time was in it.
Oh yeah, everyone. It was crazy. Do you have any particular scene that sticks out to you?
I think it's just the starting scene where well, not starting scene, but when they go to actually meet them and they all come out, and who was it Jack Nicholson that was playing the
president?
The president? I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, it was.
And he's like, welcome, blah blah blah, and then they just like look at each other like funny, and then they and just start gunning everyone down, and, and the entire movie just goes complete chaos from there. And like at one point they sew a lady's head to a dog or something at a
Oh yeah.
It's so stupid. And then the thing that kills them all at the end is some high-pitched sound from like an old record thing that
Yeah.
the kids find. It's the dumbest shit, but it's such a fun movie to watch.
Oh yeah. Jake, you have anything to add to Mars Attacks or
Specific scene? No, it's just it's goofy as hell. It's that's that movie. It's definitely a cult classic for sure. It's not like anything, you probably would have a hard time finding a whole bunch of people that have like really seen it for the most part, especially like the younger age. But specific scenes in it, man, there is a ton of them. I do like, the little granny's like hilarious, like when the they like go to Congress, like she's like they go in there like to talk peace again after the first time they met, and that just was obviously quite a bit of a mess with them, like killing everybody. But they go to the basically the state capitol, and then they just go there for peace talks, but then they just end up killing everybody. And the grandma's hilarious because she's just like laughing, like she's got dementia.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, they're killing Congress. Like it's just like she's got some goofy little lines herself. But no, I mean the movie's definitely like star packed. I'm actually looking at a list of the actors right now. You got Jack Nicholson, Annette Bening, Danny DeVito, a young Jack Black, Glenn Close, Pierce Bronson, Michael J. Fox. Like it's pretty
stacked.
packed. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very. Oh, and young Natalie Portman too. Jessica Sarah Parker. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely packed. It's just a satire of like not 90s, sorry, 50s, style B movies.
Right.
Where you got the government. It's kind of like a Olin Emmerich film, kind of in a sense. You got the government fighting aliens.
It was the better Independence Day. That,
oh God,
yeah,
exactly,
exactly.
Actually, I accidentally, coincidentally watched this film earlier this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Actually, so it's kind of funny that we're talking about this. But yeah, no, it's a classic, a cult classic. But yeah, that's really all I got for it.
All right. We'll move on now to another movie. There's a handful. I'll just say that because it's 96, and I'm pretty nostalgic with these. So this next movie is Black Sheep, the Chris Farley, David Spade.
Oh
Black
yeah.
Sheep,
One of
where
the last for Chris Farley, right?
Yes, getting close to the end. I think within a year or so he'd be gone.
I think what was the one ninja one that he was?
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Beverly Hills
Ninja. I think that was his very last. I think.
No, it was with Matthew Perry. It was a wilderness film.
Yes,
awful.
Oh yeah. Almost famous.
Almost famous. Yeah, that's it. Yep. Not necessarily a wilderness film, but they're definitely in the wilderness.
Yeah, they were like what Lewis and Clark. They were trying to race Lewis and Clark.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So they were almost famous.
Yeah.
But yeah, Black Sheep, just a classic, just like Tommy Boy classic, where it just seems like they're almost kind of like the same film, just like this is part two. Just a different whole thing altogether, but still. I think maybe if I didn't grow up around this time and find Chris Farley hilarious and all David Spade and all that, I just maybe wouldn't like this movie. But for me, it still holds up. I still get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say that it's the director. She directed other movies that I really don't typically care for.
Right.
And you as well, like Wayne's World,
Right.
But this movie is probably the best one she's done.
Yeah, I think Mudhoney, the band Mudhoney, does a what do they call it? A cameo at the end when Chris Farley runs out on stage and he's like screaming in the crowd, like doing cartwheels and going nuts, like he does. I believe that's the band. Farley, being Chris Farley, essentially. Yeah, I believe that's the band Mudhoney, which I thought was interesting. Just goes to show you the time, and also that it's a few years late because. I mean, Mudhoney's grunge, and that died in '94. So here we are in '96.
All right.
But we'll move on now to my very first introduction to this guy. He's a phenomenal martial artist, an even better stuntman. He is a stuntman. He is maybe the greatest stuntman in history. The movie is Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, hell yeah.
What a fucking movie. Now, the plot, garbage. The English dub is awful. Just awful. However,
it's so great though.
It doesn't matter. Just watching Jackie Chan just do his shtick is worth the watch.
Yeah,
he is incredible. This is the first time in my life I remember watching as a kid that I think it was our dad was like, guy does all his own stunts. I don't know how he knew that, but and sure enough he does, and just watching like at the end of his movies it'll show you like clips of him doing those stunts and getting injured over and over again. And there's just so many like I believe it was Rumble in the Bronx, where at the end of the movie there's a boat of some sort that can go on land.
Hovercraft.
Yeah, and he has to jump off something onto the hovercraft, and he completely shatters his foot and ankle.
Oh yeah,
and then he's got a shoe that's basically it's a cast that looks like a shoe that he wears.
And
then he just carries on like it's no big deal. And if you've ever listened to Jackie Chan explain like all of his injuries, it's like what do you call it? Like Johnny Knoxville, but like Johnny Knoxville was like, "Oh god, hey, calm down, dude." Like, because Jackie Chan is like broken like every damn bone in his body. It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he is awesome. And this
yeah.
movie, particularly Rumble in the Bronx, got really great reviews, and for good reason. You know, but I mean, like First Strike, not so well, and other ones not so well. But Rumble in the Bronx did really well, and definitely worth rewatching if you haven't seen it in a while.
Oh yeah,
just to see the crazy stuff that Jackie could do when he was younger.
I actually
that
wish
he can still do today, but in his prime. Yeah.
Right. Is it streaming anywhere? Because I'd love to watch it again. I haven't seen it in a while.
I'm not sure, but you can definitely just rent it for like a few dollars.
VHS player,
which is worth doing. Yeah, right.
We'll now move on now to unless John has something to say for Rumble in the Bronx. I know you like that movie.
Yeah, no, it's just Jackie Chan doing Jackie Chan, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, we'll move on now to is made for for kids. That's based off of a book here, but Danny DeVito directed it. The movie Matilda.
Oh dang, Matilda came out this year. That's great.
Yeah. And you got, was it Miss Trenchbull or whatever, that beast of a woman? Is?
Yeah.
God. And just throwing the kids in that room, like there's no parents paying attention, I guess. Well, if they have Matilda's parents, obviously they're not paying attention. But
I'm just wondering who let her have the job as principal. How does she keep the job? You know,
Right.
And why would Miss Honey have to work for her? Why would she has better skills that could be used elsewhere?
Right.
I get it, it's for the kids, but for crying out loud, shut the school down.
Right. Absolutely.
You can't operate a place like this.
She grabs the girl by her pigtails, right? Spins her around.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And throws her.
Yeah.
Should be like a bouncer at a club somewhere. Like
she literally throws kids out of the window of like 2-3 story school, and she also has like a torture device, like an Iron Maiden.
Yes.
That she like puts people in or puts kids in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's madness. That she freaked me out as a kid, and I was so glad I didn't have anybody close to that. That was a teacher that I went to school with or principal.
Right.
Matilda. Another movie we're gonna get to. Farrelly Brothers. Their latest one, I believe it was after Dumb and Dumber. Kingpin.
Classic.
So what's funny is that Randy
Another
Quaid.
cult classic.
Yeah, Randy Quaid was in Kingpin and Independence Day.
Man,
in the same
busy year.
Yeah. And I'll take Ishmael over his drunken prop duster. But yeah. We can start around here. Jake, do you have any particular scene from that movie that sticks out to you?
Just the characters themselves, like they're hilarious. Freaking Randy Quaid's character's goofy as fuck.
Roy Munson.
God, yeah, not in any particular. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but just the movie as like just the characters themselves, goofy.
Right. Oh yeah. Nick, anything that stuck out to you? That
it's been a long time since I've actually watched it.
Oh my god. Yeah, Bill Murray in that movie is. Oh my god,
I need
top
to give
notch.
it another.
Definitely.
Watch, but I do remember it being a really great film. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, isn't Randy Quaid? Isn't he like Amish or something? If I'm correct.
Yes.
And he discovers he's got the talent, right? Is that this?
He's bowling. His uncle would take him to bowl secretly, so he had been bowling his whole life.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, but
I do remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I know. I do remember like the rose in the.
The bowling ball.
In the bowling ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
John, do you have any favorite scenes that stuck out for you for Kingpin?
I saw the movie once.
Oh, you only saw it once? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you not
I've
like
only
it?
seen it once. I don't remember because honestly, that weekend, our cousin Mike had come to stay with us.
Oh.
And we went to the video store and we rented Kingpin and we rented Star Trek First Contact. Both came out in '96. And I was so focused on wanting to watch my First Contact, so I think I kind of blocked it out. But I do remember seeing it.
Wait, so Mike came to stay with us? Cousin Mike stay with us, and you guys rented Kingpin?
Mm-hmm.
You must have snuck that by, or something. Yeah, good on you.
I don't know.
Kingpin for me, couple scenes as I just watched that not too long ago. Roy Munson's landlord, when he's like, you gotta pay it up, isn't there something? Because like what's his name, Woody Harrelson poses has his friend poses like a purse thief or just a thief, and he goes to take the landlord's purse, and Roy Munson, Woody Harrelson is supposed to come in and like stop the thief so that the landlord like thinks he's a hero and will let his rent slide and all that stuff. And so he pours like scalding hot coffee on him, because he didn't realize it was gonna be that hot. Anyway, he's like he gets found out eventually because she comes back over and brings like a bottle of vodka shortly thereafter, and the criminal's at Roy Munson's house getting his money for doing that. And she freaks out, and he's like, there's got to be something I can do. And then she stops, and I can't remember what song plays, but it's god awful. And it shows her like putting on like her stockings, and she's just got like these veiny legs. Oh god,
I
it's
do
so
remember
gross.
that scene. I remember that just sparked it in my head. I remember that. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's like puking on the toilet, and he's like, "Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad. What makes it?" She's like, "What makes it about good sex? It makes you have to take a crap." And he's, oh god,
yeah. Okay.
Oh god. There's so many fucking hilarious things. Like when they go to Ishmael, Randy Quaid's his Amish community, and Roy Munson is trying to pull him away and get him to go bowling, and all that stuff. And Roy Munson's posing as like an Amish fella, and he tries to help out with, he's like, I'm gonna go milk the cow, and so he comes back and he's got this bucket. He's like, hey, I just finished milking the cow, and he's like drinking. He's like, it's not bad, it's like took a little while to get him going, but once I did, boy, it came out. And he's like, we don't have cows, we have bulls. And then he realized he's drinking like it's like, oh god. And then they asked him to take off horseshoes, and he just cuts off the whole bottom of the horses. It's just ridiculous. And we actually mentioned it, like it was called Indecent Proposal, I believe. And they did like a spoof off that in Kingpin. We'd mentioned this a few podcasts earlier, where the guy goes up, the same guy who's in that movie goes up to Roy Munson, Woody Harrelson, and Randy Quaid, and he's like, I'll pay you $1 million to sleep with your friend. And he's like, yeah, just throwing that out there. And he walks away, and he's like, you gonna set him straight or am I? And Roy Munson's like, no, I'll do it. And he goes over there and talks to him, and the next thing you see is like Randy Quaid laying on the bed, and like Roy Munson like throwing up money in the air. It's just ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous movie. But yeah, fantastic, really good. Bill Murray is top notch. He ad-libs every line. There isn't a single line in the script that he says that was actually in the script that he says. Everything is ad-libbed. And the coolest fact that I just found out. So at the end of the movie, Bill Murray has got to roll 3 strikes to win. That's what it says in the script, right? That's what he's supposed to do. And so Bill Murray gets up there. He rolls 1 strike. He rolls 2. He rolls 3. He actually gets a turkey. He gets a turkey, and everyone freaks out. All the extras, everyone just freaks out. And so that's why it's just like over the top. And he's like, he's got this crazy like comb over hair that just like flies up in the air.
Yeah.
It's so great. Yeah, but he actually did get a turkey, so that's actually true.
That's incredible.
Yep, we'll move on now to we only got a few left here. Another movie I picked, The Crucible. It's based off a play. We were talking about it with psychics and mediums and whatnot. We were talking about like the Fox sisters and whatnot.
Right.
There's some scenes from The Crucible I used in our video that stars Daniel Day-Lewis and Winona Ryder, where there's just girls, doing just kind of weird, but nothing too crazy, but it gets mistaken for witchcraft, and then they decide to carry that lie out further, and there's whole plots behind it, like people being conniving, and
that sounds really good.
It goes on.
Danny Day-Lewis movie I've never seen.
Yep, it goes on for very long, and it just gets out of hand, and it's a whole thing. But it's a very good movie. We'll move on now to, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. We'll move on now to another one, Trainspotting, with what's his name, Obi-Wan, which is came out.
Ewan McGregor,
yeah, where they're all heroin addicts, and I've never seen that movie in its entirety, but it was good what I'd seen, and so I'm putting it in for recommendations. If you've never seen it, recommend checking it out. Let me know how it is. And we got 3 movies left here. All right, I'm gonna do two, and then I'll save this one for last. Okay, so we got Swingers that came out in '96 with Vince Vaughn and the guy who directed Iron Man and The Mandalorian and all that stuff. Can't remember his name, but Jon Favreau. Yep, Swingers, very good movie.
Ugh.
I liked it. Do you not like Swingers?
I'm not a Jon Favreau fan.
Have you seen Swingers?
No, it's very possible that I might like some of his stuff. I don't really care for his acting, Jon Favreau.
Gotcha. There is a scene that is so uncomfortable to watch. He calls a girl and he's trying to get a date with. He's got no luck with women, I guess. Jon Favreau's character, and he just leaves one horrible voicemail after another, where he just keeps digging himself a hole, and it's not like funny like in like a old school funny where Will Ferrell was calling his ex-wife. He's asking if she'd like to get together and eat a whole plate of food. It's not like that, it's really like, oh God, like no, just hang up the phone, man. Hang up the phone. No.
Right. It's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch, but quite well. But I actually enjoyed that movie, Swingers. If you guys haven't seen it, maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't.
I'll give it a shot.
Two more movies here. Start with a serious one first. Sling Blade. Have you guys seen Sling Blade? I know Nick has because we watched it first time together. Sling Blade is a fantastic film.
Oh, it's amazing.
Fantastic film. It's directed by Billy Bob Thornton. It's his film, and he also stars in it. He's like, I talk like this.
Oh wait,
French fry potatoes.
yeah, shit, yeah, I have seen that. That's been quite some time though.
Yes. John, have you seen Sling Blade?
Bits and pieces, not the whole thing.
Yes.
Man, you gotta watch it. You gotta give that a watch. Have to.
Such a good movie. And props to Dwight Yoakam. He can act. He's a good actor.
For sure.
Yeah. He plays a drunken hillbilly redneck quite well.
So he just plays himself.
Yeah, except a little bit more drunk.
Yeah.
I had a few more beers.
And a little less hillbilly than normal, but
a little less talk, a lot more action.
And then saying about more action.
Good Lord.
The Sling Blade, there's a number of scenes. John Ritter is amazing in that film. God, he's so good. As he plays the gay guy in the town, and he's like, he's like, I just want you to know, he's like, I like men. And he's like, what do you mean? It's like, I like, I'm a homosexual. And he's like, me a ha funny ha queer. He's like, who told you that? Who told you that? No, don't say that. Don't say that. French fried potatoes. Y'all got biscuits in there.
Yeah.
You got biscuit and mustard on it. Yep. I reckon I killed him. I killed him in the head. Like takes like a blade off a lawnmower and just chops the guy's head in half. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Sling Blade, can't recommend enough. And the
I gotta rewatch that.
Yeah. I like if he's like, what do you plan on doing with that blade? He's like, reckon I'll kill you with it.
I'm fixing to kill you with it.
Yeah, I'm fixing to kill you with it.
Oh yeah, that's what you're gonna. And then all right, well, and the last movie I've got for 1996, personal selections. Dunston Checks In. Dunston.
Oh God.
In. Now there are two movies, two ape movies or monkey movies in '96 that came out, and this is by far the superior of the two. Go on, John.
You missed the other 8 movie that came out.
No, I didn't. No,
Jingle All the Way.
No, I didn't. I just haven't gotten to worst movies of 1996. So this is a personal film selection. So I'm recommending Dunston Checks In.
You're recommending this movie. Well, yes, I do too. Only because honestly, to me, like it's hysterical. Because if you think of it as like this is a Carl Pilkington's Monkey News on as a movie,
right?
Basically like watching it, it's like oh yeah, like Carl basically would say, like he would it's just a monkey that he lives in a hotel and he goes around and steals people's jewelry. He's dressed like a thief. and they'd be like, oh yeah, so he's got like a little light on, does he? Like he's got like a fanny pack,
Yeah.
short legs, long arms.
Taking baths, enjoying
Yeah.
he's ordering room
Right.
service. Get the hell out of
Right,
here.
yeah.
This is what the monkey's doing.
It's so ridiculous.
Monkeys
yeah.
doing human things.
Any favorite lines from Dunston Checks In? Anybody that's seen it? That
No.
can remember it at all?
I
John?
can't remember any lines. My goodness.
Oh, I can.
No.
I can.
No.
Okay, so there's a scene where Jason Alexander, who plays the manager.
Oh
of
God,
the
he was in
hotel-
that movie too. I
Yeah,
forgot about
yeah.
that.
He plays
God
the
damn
manager
it.
of the hotel, and that annoying little shit from fucking Santa Claus is in it too. That little kid, I can't stand him. God, I can't stand that kid. That his dad is I can't remember her name, but she's like she comes in to like look at it's her hotel chain, and she's gonna get rated here, and she wants the 6-star. She wants that 6-star, and so she's got to make sure because Mr. Della Croce is coming over to like review the whole hotel, and they've got to get this, and so she doesn't like children, so he hides his little kid underneath the desk while he's in his office, and she brings in her husband who can barely hear or see, and she's asking him, like, she's talking about what's going on, and Jason Alexander's trying what he can to yell at his kid to be quiet because he's in the middle of something because they're supposed to go on vacation. Anyway, the old man yells out, "Why is he talking to his crutch?" And it kills me every time. I don't know why. He's just like, oh my God, it's so it's not really funny, but to me it cracks me up. Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman as the exterminator. You got a Pongo Pygmaeus, and he's got a going around and he's hunting the monkey that does like that little laugh, and then what's that guy's name? There's Mr. Della Croce, and then there's somebody else too. I can't remember the guy's name. He's like the big thief of the whole thing.
Lord Rutledge.
Lord Rutledge. And
I had him as that was my character's
that was
name
your character.
on ESO.
Yes, exactly. Lord Rutledge. And the whole movie is just over the top, ridiculous. The idea that this ape, monkey, orangutan, this Pongo Pygmaeus gets brought into this hotel to rob it. Meanwhile, the guy who's supposed to be doing the review is having the worst time imaginable at the hotel, thanks to the monkey.
Of course.
I just I watched that as a kid, and I watched it again, and it made me laugh. So I'm putting it in there for personal film selections. Dunston Checks In, and that'll do it for personal film selections. Now we're going to get to the worst movies of 1996, and I've got let's see, about 14. There's a lot.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
But I haven't seen half of them, so I just know they're bad. The first one I have seen, and it's the one I've done most recently, and I've actually done a review for it on Amazon. Big Bully. Big Bully came out in 1996.
Yeah, that's right.
Forgot about that.
Where I said I'd rather hear the death rattle of my only child than to watch 1 second of this movie. And then Amazon thanked me for that review.
What?
Yeah, and I got an email from him. Thank you for your review. We really appreciate it. It says in bold letters, death rattle of my child. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Terrible fucking
They'll take
movie.
anything.
Rick Moranis and what's that asshole's name? Tom Arnold. It's just really stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what the moral of the story was. It was confusing. If you've never seen it, consider yourself lucky. Big Bully is an awful movie. Get it to somebody you don't like.
Against humanity.
Right? If you don't like somebody in your life and you have to get them a Christmas present, get them Big Bully on VHS. On
VHS.
Another movie we got for worst movies of 96, Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace. Where that is, I'm not sure.
Next.
another one of the most, I think it had like a 3%, maybe a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Very low, very low. The movie The Stupids, also one of the worst movies of 1996. Yes, never seen it, never wanted to see it. Knew at 10 years old that movie is awful, and it is. 1996, Barbed Wire, terrible movie. Pamela Anderson's the only reason why anybody would even watch that for a moment, and even she can't keep your eyes to the glued. They shouldn't, after that, the stick should just get old. I would think. There's the internet now. We don't need to watch. It's no reason to even watch Barbed Wire. It's a terrible movie. It's based off a comic book. It's just about some femme fatale like sort of deal, some ass kicking woman. But just it's Pamela Anderson. It's very flat, dry
That sounds
acted.
awful.
It's not good.
Did any of you watch that the Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson like that
Oh, the Hulu one?
documentary? Yeah.
Oh no,
Did
I
you watch
didn't.
that at all?
No, did you?
Oh, it's pretty. Yeah. It's actually pretty good. I definitely recommend it.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, I think she I think it was about the same time like the whole their whole controversy happened with the sex tape and everything.
Oh, yes.
I think that happened right before this movie. I can't remember exactly what the timeline is. And I think she was like expecting that this was gonna like set her off and make her a big star, which it obviously didn't. Didn't really work out to her favor. So but yeah, it was something.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. Was that not I don't know what would you call
recommend
that?
Barbed Wire?
Pam and
Say,
Tommy?
well, yeah, Pam and Tom. Not Barbed Wire. I wouldn't
After
recommend
all that. After all that. Anyway, so I recommend Barbed Wire.
Yeah.
And now the worst of the two monkey movies for 1996, and that is the movie Ed with Matt LeBlanc.
Yes,
it is
I
a
knew
0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's
0%.
awful.
It's essentially like, I think it's like the monkey's like a mascot or something. I don't know, for a baseball team. That's like a good luck charm. I don't know. 0%.
Matt LeBlanc was in a monkey movie. I did not know this.
Yes, and Dunston is far superior to that monkey. So. Now the worst movie of 1996, Biodome.
Oh, Biodome.
Biodome.
Yeah.
Pauly Shore.
Anything stick out to you that's particularly horrible about that movie?
The movie?
Fucking everything. About
Everything?
That movie,
Oh, okay.
The movie.
God
The
damn
movie
near
itself.
everything in that shit movie. Yeah.
That movie was a dumpster fire.
God.
Yeah, it's not good at all. It's not even remotely close to being good. I don't even know. You'd think, like I said, Pauly Shore's like peak
It's a
was like
landfill.
Son-in-Law. Yeah, right?
It's within the darkest, deepest depths of the landfill.
Speaking of which, the next movie is Kazam. Kazam of
Oh,
96.
God.
Where Shaquille O'Neal's a rapping
man.
genie.
Oh, Jesus
It's like-
Christ.
And then instead of a lamp, it's like a boombox. And he's like, "Who played my box? Yo." And he just rhymes it with like, I don't know, fox
That's
or
just
locks,
fucking
Okay,
this
just,
is ridiculous.
And the kid runs away and it's just like, "Yo, come back. I'm the Mac Attack," or something like that.
Oh my God.
It's really awesome.
My God.
Really bad, awful movie. Another worst movie of 96, I've got First Kid, which is with Sinbad, where he's like a Secret Service
no.
agent, and he's got to watch over the president's son, who's got like the
that's
coolest
right.
room in the world. I was so
Yeah.
jealous of that. And he had a little cool like peace sign necklace that had a camera in it. I thought that was awesome as a kid. Then you watch it again when you're an adult and you realize this movie is awful. It's not good. It's just a really bland Disney movie. They just pump them out year after year, especially in the 90s. We'll move on now to another. Only got 4 left here. Another terrible movie for 1996, Muppet Treasure Island. Sorry, that's I can't.
What?
I actually like that one.
I couldn't take it. Oh,
That's-
go ahead. Why did you like Muppet Treasure Island?
I mean, it might be just because of like nostalgia glasses for sure.
Yeah.
But Muppets are classic. Growing up with them, Muppets, gotta love them. But yeah, Muppet Treasure Island. That's actually one of. I definitely have some nostalgia for that one. So
that one stuck with you. Okay,
you're with me, Nick.
Huh?
Yeah,
What's
Nick's with you on that one, I think, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you on pretty much most of the Muppet movies. I like all of it.
Yeah.
And Treasure Island was good. Tim Curry's great.
Yeah, Tim Curry's in it.
Long
So,
John
yeah.
Silver. So
Yeah, and there's like some really good. There's some really good quotable lines in that too. Actually,
What was the Muppet
old
movie?
Tom, dead Tom.
What was the Muppet movie where they had to break into something and he goes like, maybe we could jump part way, like that.
That is
he had,
the,
I brought the paper towel. Yeah.
Right. That is the oh god, the Great Muppet Caper that came out in the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic Muppet film. That one kills me when I was a kid. I used to laugh. Gonzo gets like thrown in front of a car, he jumps. He doesn't get thrown. He jumps himself to stop a taxi.
Jumps himself. Yeah.
Taxi cracked me up as a kid. And Charles Grodin is that dry acting. It's so good. I guess in comparison to that, for me, Muppet Treasure Island just what did it for me for Muppet Treasure Island? What really was like, I don't like this. Was that the boy,
Muppets
the main
from
boy,
space?
the main boy in Muppet Treasure Island?
I see. Yeah.
And his singing.
That's
when
fair.
he starts
That's
singing,
fair.
he's like,
yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck, man? He's got to be at least 15. What the hell's going on there? And like his balls have they not dropped? They're up in like his throat. It doesn't make any sense. Got balls in his throat. All right, we'll move on to last 3 worst movies for 1996, and I've got Jingle All the Way for one of the worst movies of 1996. Another Sinbad classic. Schwarzenegger
Sinbad classic.
And probably
busy man.
The best person of that entire film, without a doubt, Phil Hartman plays this sleazy neighbor. He's
he's trying to sleep with everybody's
everybody.
Wife.
Yep. And then everyone's wives like brings him like cookies. All the single moms. Oh, you shouldn't have. And he's like, I'll be over there to fix your sink. And he's just like, he's over there. He's always at Arnold's house. He's like, I'm eating your cookies, and he's like, "Who thought you could eat my cookies?" And all that stuff.
As bad as the movie is, like, it's very, very, very quotable. There are some actually good Schwarzenegger quotes, like he yells out, "I'm not a pervert." Like, there's some really actually good Arnold quotes.
Oh, for sure.
Put that cookie down.
Yeah, put the cookie down. Yeah.
So I just want you guys to know, if you don't know already, there is a Jingle All the Way too.
Really?
Yeah.
And
so hold on. Who do you think? I give you all one guess. Who you think the main guy is? Don't look it up.
Sinbad.
It's not Arnold.
Sinbad.
No.
I would say Jack Black, but
Larry
I feel
the
like
Cable
that would
Guy.
get more traction.
It's Larry the fucking Cable.
Larry the fucking. I knew it. I don't know how I knew it, but I knew it. Honestly, I did not look that up. I just said, it's like a ding. Larry the Cable.
Yeah.
It's got to be Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
So from Arnold to Larry the Cable Guy.
Movie came out in 2014.
Oh.
I mean, what a horrible. This has got to be one of the worst movies ever made, possibly.
I was just gonna say, you thought Jingle All the Way was bad.
Well, that could be a movie night for Christmas time. We were looking for Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way too.
Oh
god. Yeah. Let's get a lot of eggnog for that one.
Jingle All the Way also has a young Jake Lloyd who end up making a little bit of a name for himself later with the first reboot with Star Wars.
Yep.
Not necessarily a reboot, but the prequel trilogy, which
prequels,
are god awful in their own right. But
you know what?
I think they're better than the most recent ones.
Yes.
At least the Skywalker. Skywalker one especially.
I agree. Oh yeah, God, the very last one in that. So yeah.
Yeah. I will take Phantom Menace over that, but even Phantom Menace, I still like. I agree with you, man. It's like,
which isn't like a good thing to say, but it's that just speaks volumes of how bad Rise of the Skywalker was, or what was it? What was it? Rise of Skywalker? I can't even remember. That's how bad.
I think you're right. I think it is Rise of Skywalkers. There's a lot of rising and raising and revenging and all that
returning.
Stuff. Returning, exactly.
Returning,
right.
Leaving, returning, rising,
coming, going. Who cares? Just leave. All right,
Just
and now
going to the milk store.
Yeah.
All right.
Be the next in the next trilogy.
All right, we'll now move on to our last movie for worst movie of 1996, and I'm gonna put it in as worst movie of 1996. There probably are worse. I mean, Ed is definitely probably worse than this movie. There are other movies that are just, not only are they not funny in a bad way, but it's just not good at all around. But this one, it's not good at all. And that movie is Darkman 3, Die, Darkman, Die.
Oh.
Yes.
Now for the first, Jake had watched this movie for the first time not too long ago. We did a thing where I brought the podcast equipment over, all that recording gear, whatnot, and we watched the movie and commented on it.
Right.
Still working on that. It's not. We'll see how it all comes along. It's some parts are usable, some parts not so much. So it's kind of a touch and go. But on the whole, Jake, you've now had over a week, I believe, to ponder this movie. Anything that stuck out to you from Darkman 3 that you were like, man, that was really, really bad?
I mean, to be honest with you, like the movie was so bad, my brain refused to retain any of it. So I've honestly like just forgotten about it. No, there was literally no good qualities to this movie. God.
Well, how about the RPG?
Oh,
Remember the RPG?
It's chase. It's like somehow like the same speed as him for like a majority of that chase, and then just right at the end, just speeds right past.
He just moves his head to the side.
Yeah,
and RPG.
Yeah,
just
the horrible CGI. Where they
zips right past his head.
Right. Oh God.
But it yeah. God, how stupid is that?
I do not recommend this film if you are listening to this.
Oh man, I like. Bad. Yeah, he's got his secret hideout. That it's like to get to it, he's got to go down a main street that's like a busy intersection and like open up a sewer hole and then just like climb it, manhole, just climb in with his cat carrier thing, and it's just like he looks around for a second and then get someone's gonna see that, and then he walks right by a subway, a train going by, somehow has this entire part of the subway that's you would think blocked off. That's like with a giant Jurassic Park King Kong wooden doors. Goes into, he's got a cat that lives down there, and he's just basically making synthetic skin that's only good for 99 minutes.
AI computer that talks to him, but not only talks to him, but just like literally tells him exactly what he's doing, as if that's a thing.
Right.
Like that's technology. Give me a break.
Yep.
Like you're drinking water right now. Thank you. Thank you.
Just imagine having an echo that just repeats everything you do.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's basically what he had.
The acting is just insufferable.
Right.
In that movie, it is so funny because it is so bad. It's one of those movies, I just love the "I'm nobody's lab rat. Do you understand?"
Right.
And he does like a turn. Jesus.
The bad guy, the main bad guy, is so ridiculous. I love it.
Rooker.
So fucking funny. He's not trying to be. He just is. It's got like some of the.
Oh yeah, he was so serious. Yeah.
And he's playing the piano, just this random piano chords, whatever, just kind of flowing around, and he's just talking with his crew. It's got to be the most awkward work meetings you've ever been to. And then you think it's just okay. It's just guy's just this head of this criminal empire, and then out of nowhere, this little sweet girl comes in. Daddy, I got a new dress. Get out of here! Like, what the fuck? What the hell's going on?
Not now, Jenny.
And then his wife comes in. Apparently, it's a sweet wife, sweet kid. How the fuck are they even? Why is she even with him? Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's never explained. How does this kid come from him? You'd think she'd have some of him in her in some way, that she might be, if she gets neglected by her father repeated like that, she's not going to be all happy and anyway, it is what it is. It's a shitty movie. Thanks, Baller. Thank you for introducing that to us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you,
Lord. I remember the story telling you guys how the first time I watched that movie, it was on a VHS tape in Baller's basement in his parents' house. And we had to use it. And we had to use a video camera to watch it because he didn't have a VHS player. So we had to hook it up to his tube TV to watch it.
It worked.
So and it worked, but it was like the most craziest, like, holy shit way to fucking watch that movie. Good Lord.
All right. Well, John, if you haven't seen Darkman 3, Darkman Die, which I imagine you haven't, because who the fuck has? I have it on DVD. Yeah. So
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, give me your address. get Darkman 3 for Christmas. Yeah. I'll mail it to you.
Get Darkman 3.
All right, guys.
At least you've gotten me worse for Christmas.
Oh God, yeah.
At least check out the trailer.
Yeah, check out the trailer for sure.
Yeah.
So check out the trailer. I got Nick deer urine for Christmas, so hold on.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I re-gifted that deer. Dude, I re-gifted that deer urine to Ricky.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And he hated
it. I re-gifted it to him because, like,
it's Rick.
picked on me my whole time.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Growing up, and it's like, you gifted that to me, and it was hysterical. And I just thought immediately, we're going to Illinois. I'm like, I'm gonna gift this to him, and he's gonna have no idea.
The thing is, you didn't get anyone else a gift. You literally just got him wrapped up deer piss and gave it to him. That's the biggest fuck you for Christmas. Why didn't you get? I wish Grandpa and Grandma or Don and Papa had like yelled at you. They yelled at me for giving Dad a broken up log and calling it shit. Look what you got crap for Christmas. And they called me like a week later. We didn't like how you disrespected Christmas. And I was like, who the fuck are you two people? Shut the fuck up.
Disrespect Christmas.
Fuck
I love
off.
that. It's
Yeah.
like Fox News.
Come to Indiana and tell me that.
Right.
But the thing with Rick, it's I remember, God, what did he say? One time, because our aunt wasn't, she was a single mom, and he found out that she was going to be coming and bring Christmas presents, and he was upset because, in his words, she's poor. She's not going to get me anything good. So good on you for getting him deer urine. All right. That will do it for movies of 1996. Thank you guys. Very well done. But we will now move into music of 1996.
Here is the music of the 90s.
All right. The number one album of 1996. Any guesses? I'm just going to get straight ahead to that. It dominated. It was number one. It went number one in 95 for a few weeks, and it just carried over and just blew up in 96. So it was
what
on our list.
genre? Give me a hint of the genre.
Alternative rock, female. I'll give you two.
Oh boy.
The biggest has to be the biggest female selling artist by far of the 90s.
I couldn't say.
All right. Well, the answer is Jagged Little Pill from Alanis Morissette.
Right on.
That was number one album of the year.
Goddamn Canadians.
Yeah. Another one. Whitney Houston's Waiting to Exhale, the official soundtrack to that, made it to number one for a few weeks. Tupac's All Eyes on Me made it to number one. That made it like triple platinum in like an insanely short amount of time. Tupac's did.
Speaking of 96 and Tupac, that was actually the year he was shot.
I was gonna say, I thought he
That's true.
died in 96.
Yeah.
So what happened was, if I'm not mistaken, Tupac was in prison because he got sentenced for sexually assaulting a woman. And typically those crimes are kind of hard to prove. A lot of times guys will get off on that, but it was so self-evident that he got put in prison for 4 years. He was bailed out with a $1.2 million bail. That's how bad of a crime it was. He got bailed out by Suge Knight. So Suge Knight would sign him to his record label, Death Row Records, and have Tupac produce albums. He signed a record deal in exchange for a bail that he would produce some records for Suge Knight, and that album became All Eyes on Me, one of the two that I only got two. Like you're right, Jake, though. He would be dead within like 7-8 months of him releasing this album. He'd be dead.
Damn.
Wow.
So it's just I don't know. I never hear about that sexual assault, that violent sexual assault.
No, you never do.
It's always like Tupac was this great. I'm
Right.
sure he was a great rapper and all that shit, but I mean, it's do you separate the art from the artist? All that crap. I don't know. To me, some of it's like I don't listen to Bill Cosby. I'm not making
Right.
fuck Bill Cosby. I think that's pretty easy to say.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll move on now to another number one album of 1996. Classic album, Rage Against the Machine's Evil Empire, their sophomore album.
Hey, love it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Great stuff. I love that. That's a good album. Great album.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite track on that? Annie got a favorite track?
Favorite track.
If not, we'll just move on.
Probably Viet Now.
Viet Now. Yeah.
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 One of my
that's a good one.
favorite.
Yeah. Classic. We got the Fugees' The Score. That went number one in 1996, which I believe is the Killing Me Softly song was on that album. Metallica, which just released a new song recently. Load came out with Load in 1996. They came back. They cut their hair, and they came back. They a bit it's a kind of a mixed bag there, I believe, with Metallica fans. But I think by this point, all the hardcore fans from like the 80s had just completely given up on the band, and all the fans they had made from the Black album were still along for the ride when it came to Load. They did so much material. They hadn't had an album since '91 with Black album, so that's 5 years of material. They could, I mean, they took a rest because they had like a world tour and all that, but they did Load and then Reload shortly thereafter. I think they were like year after year, so it almost could have been a double album, but they released each other like one after another almost. Another one that went number one in '96 was Nas's "It Was Written." Apparently that was a great album, but I've never listened to it, so
Who?
I can't say. Nas and Jay-Z are mortal enemies. More beef.
Okay.
Just kind of like Tupac and the Biggie Smalls were mortal enemies. All that crap. But not really. I don't think they were. I think it was more the people around them. Sort of mentality. Bush's sophomore album, Razorblade Suitcase, went number one in 1996. I don't believe there was really any major big hit on that album, and it's pretty critically panned. So, just really for nostalgia, if you really like Bush, you might like a song or two off that album, but that's about it. No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom came out. We had this album as when we were kids, which is strange because we weren't allowed to have anything aside from like country music and Christian rap, or a pop group of some sort. So the fact that we had No Doubt, Tragic Kingdom was interesting. We listened to like Don't Speak on our CD player, like that album that had that on there, or Alabama.
A CD player from like 1988.
Right.
It was like an old ass CD player.
Oh yeah. We had that.
But you'd go walk next to it and it would skip.
Right. Oh yeah, I can remember that before the anti-skip stuff was going on. And the last number one album for that I'm gonna mention here for '96 was Celine Dion's "Falling Into You." We'll get to some songs off that album. I'll mention them later in a few different subjects there. All right, we'll move on to personal album picks of 1996. I'm going to start with Weezer's Pinkerton. Critically planned when it came out, and a lot of the fans were mixed on it, but I feel it's got a handful of good songs on it at least, so I feel like it's worth a mention. So I have Weezer's Pinkerton for 1996. Probably my
El Scorcho.
El Scorcho.
Pink Triangle.
Yep, Pink Triangle, El Scorcho. What's another one? I'm trying to think of another one. I know there's more on that album. I'm drawing a blank.
Good Life.
Yep, Good Life. Yep. Yeah, it's a lot of. There's more on that too. So yeah, it's just it's a good album. There's a handful of songs in there I like. Another album that came out in 1996. Tool's Aenima. Phenomenal album. Love that album.
Love that album.
Love it.
Yeah.
Front to back, love it. The whole thing. Can listen to it all. I just Bill Hicks had passed away in the past, I think in '94, when they started recording it. So there's like a nod to him in the booklet,
Right.
It was like a real American hero or something like that they call him anyway. But his some parts from his stand up are in the song Third Eye, which is like the last track on the album, where he talks about drugs and whatnot and how they've done good things, that they're not all bad. But just a really good album. It usually between that album and Lateralis, so people go between the best Tool album of all time.
For sure.
There isn't a single song on there that isn't worth a listen. 46 and 2, when Danny Carey gets on those drums, when it gets to the end, it's ridiculous. If you ever get to see them live, their drummer, Danny Carey, is worth the price of admission alone. He's an insanely good drummer. Just really musicianship, top notch. Can't say enough good things about Tool. But we'll move on here because I can go on for a while. Sublime's debut album came out. Sublime. I figured, well, it's got all their songs that everyone knows, so got to include that.
Yeah.
So
sure.
Santeria, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Date Rape, I think, is on that. And What I've Got, the classics.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Definitely. Well, this one was an album that came out that my math teacher. Okay, so I'll tell a quick story here. my math teacher used to put this album on when he would have us do math, just as like music in the background or whatever. And that album is Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You, their debut album.
Oh
which
yeah,
had like the real world, like you know,
yeah.
wonder what it's like to be a rainmaker or something like that.
Yeah, I hear that song all the time.
Yeah. You couldn't go into a coffee shop without hearing, you know, Real World by Matchbox 20. But our math teacher, Mr. Nedbed, I believe his name was, he would play these Mr. Nedza would play Nedza, John had Nedza. Nedza would play Matchbox 20.
Yeah, he was a dickhead. Anyway.
Yeah. And I was telling this story to a group of people, and one of them, and I was like, I made the joke, like, so now every time I hear Matchbox 20, I get this strong urge to do math problems, right? clearly a joke. Exactly, clearly a joke.
Yeah.
The person responded with giving me a math problem, and I just stopped and stared, because I was like, I don't know if she doesn't realize that it's not a joke, or if it is a joke and she realizes that, and the way she responds to it is to take it seriously, negating anything being it's just a weird way to respond to that. And the thing that killed me was that her boyfriend assumed my silence, that my dead stare at, like, my look was, you are a moron. My look is like, holy shit, you're stupid. But they took it as he doesn't know how to do math. And so he started doing it was like 80 times.
So then he was
800.
like, let me do it.
No, he whispered to her. He's like, what you do is you carry the zero, because you see there's 3 zeros, so you know it's going to be this many.
Oh my
It's
God.
the old trick. And she's like, oh, you're so funny and smart. And I'm just like, you guys are fucking stupid. Holy shit. I don't actually feel the need to do math when I hear Matchbox 20. It's a joke. Clearly that annoyed me, because it stays with me still. But yeah, that's a solid.
It's such a Larry David thing.
Yeah, it's
very Larry David.
Yeah, just nonsense. I did not want to actually do math. Holy fuck. But anyway, for a debut album, you couldn't get much better than that. Holy shit, that album was everywhere. It sold like hotcakes, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever had an album come even remotely close to selling that much again. Beck's Odelay also. I'm gonna choose that per personal album pick. Beck Odelay. Weird Al Yankovic, Bad Hair Day.
Hell yeah, Weird Al.
Coolio's Gangster's Paradise, his version with Amish Paradise. Fantastic song. Him and Coolio buried the hatchet.
Oh yeah.
So Coolio was upset with him, because apparently there was some miscommunication, and he had not gotten the message that Al was going to do his song, and Al was under the impression that Coolio gave the okay, and so it was a big riff or whatever it was. But yeah, they cleared the air, and good thing, because Coolio just recently passed away in the past couple weeks. But I'd say that's probably Weird Al's best album. I think that's the only time that he won a Grammy was for Amish Paradise, was that song off this album. So that's probably his best. So Weird Al Yankovic, Bad Hair Day. And Dave Matthews Band's debut, Crash, came out 96. Put that on there. Yep. That's the end of that. That's I don't really think there's another album that I'd be like, all right. I mean, it's their debut album. And then I think it has to have like the most collection of songs that I know by Dave Matthews Band has to be on that album. There might be one sprinkled one thereafter, but I mean, other than that, then you know, the "You Cannot Quit Me So Quickly" song, you know, that's about it.
You cannot quit me so quickly.
Then we got 2 more personal album picks of 96. The Geto Boys, The Resurrection. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
The Office Space, back up in your rest with the resurrection. You know.
Yeah.
This is time, motherfuckers, time, motherfuckers. Time, motherfuckers, time, motherfuckers. Yeah, it's just
Still. It's gonna still.
Yeah. Motherfuckers, time, motherfuckers, still. Yeah, it's so good. It's a group hotter than
It's a
any
classic.
witch. It shows more affection. They want to burn us on Capitol Hill. Because it's time, motherfuckers, time. It's just crazy. All I wanted was the ghetto. All right, but yeah, Geto Boys, The Resurrection. And the last album I'm choosing is Local H, As Good As Dead, which has like high-fiving motherfucker on it and stuff like that. I saw them live. White Stripes, before the White Stripes, just the drummer and a guitar player. That's it.
Right.
Just 2 people band, two-piece band from Chicago. So I think that's probably why I have a bit more of a soft spot for them, because they're, you know, local. So Local H, As Good As Dead. my last personal pick for albums of 1996. And now we'll get to worst albums of 1996. Starting off with Spice Girls, Spice, their debut album. That's when this happened. Spice Girls. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Not much to say about that. I've never really listened to it other than that one song. That's about it. Boyzone, a different beat. Just another pop group, bland. No one's ever heard of them because they weren't around for very long. So I've got that as the worst album. A couple of these might be a bit controversial. This next one might be, but you know what? It's enough time has passed. But I'm gonna have Korn's "Life Is Peachy" as one of the worst albums, and I have that down as one of the worst albums of '96. Korn, "Life Is Peachy." Just not a good album. I don't think so. It's pretty much the same as the first album. Just a lot of screaming and crying, and bagpipes, juvenile jokes, and it's made for a certain demographic. And for a little while, I fit that demographic, and then I grew up and grew out of it. So no longer.
I think we all did at one point or another.
Yeah. So that's why Korn, "Life Is Peachy" is on one of my worst albums of '96. Back to it, another one. I didn't realize this, which changes my whole thought. But the Backstreet Boys debut album, Backstreet Boys, I have that down as worst albums. But that's why Backstreet's back. All right, that's where they were. Apparently, they already had another album, but nobody knew about it. So their first song off their big smash hit album had the Backstreet's back, but nobody knew that they had even left or that they were there in the first place. But I guess, so they had a debut album. I'm just going to put that under worst albums of '96. So
there you go.
This one I'm going to save this one. So I got the Beach Boys, "Stars and Stripes," and what that is, it's an album of the Beach Boys singing, but their main parts are replaced by country music artists. So if you've ever wanted to hear Barbara Ann in a twangy, nasally voice, this is your album. Yes.
Man.
Beach Boys are bad enough.
Right, but it's not. Beach Boys are amazing. Well, they were with Pet Sounds.
Dude, every song sounds the same. It's like AC/DC.
The AC/DC harmonizing.
You can listen to them for like
I get what you're saying.
A song or two. Yeah, and then
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
But at the same, I get what you're saying. But Stars and Stripes, not a good album. Dio's "Angry Machines," I have that down. I never listened to it,
Dio.
but I've heard it. Just like the reviews are like in the 10s. It's bad. It's out of 100. So yeah, it's not good. Dio, "Angry Machines."
Yikes.
And I got two left here.
Machines.
Angry Machines.
Dio.
I'm debating here which one to do first. I'll do this one first. Okay. Two more left here for worst albums of '96. I've got Space Jam's official soundtrack as one of the worst albums of '96.
Oh God!
Come on, it's like
welcome to the jam. Come on, it's like you want to jam. Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, it's not good. Then they got my favorite is when Timmy would rap the Monstars song. Don't get enough, we got the ball. I can't remember. Can't get none of this hardcore. He knows every line. God. He knows it's insane.
I bet he still does.
He still does.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh God. And he probably could do it now, if he was on the podcast. But yes,
was it the "Hit 'Em High" or something?
Yeah, when you hit 'em high, hit 'em high, hit 'em high.
Yeah.
Hit 'em low, hit 'em low. Come on, straight. Yeah, I can't. I don't know.
I actually remember having that soundtrack as a kid, like trying to remember like what songs are. I remember there's the R. Kelly's.
Yeah, I Believe I Can Fly.
Flies on there.
Yeah,
I know that's yeah. Shit.
"Fly Like an Eagle."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a
Seal, I think it was, or was it?
by Seal. Yeah.
The cover of that one band.
The Winner, Coolio.
Yeah. There's a lot of crap on that. We'll get to some. There's some things I've selected for just in about 10 minutes. We'll get to it. And the last album, I'm glad you're with us, John. Just in general, but I really am glad you're with us for this, because the last worst album of 1996, MXPX, "Life in General."
Oh hell yeah! Said that's the worst album. Give me a break,
And my
man.
middle name. Dun, 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 dun.
Man, I love that band when I was a kid.
I know.
Dude,
Favorite
my God.
song
Have
from
you
that album,
listened
if
to
you
it?
remember any, John?
Yeah.
Do you have any favorites from that album?
Which album was it again?
Life in General. It starts off with Emotion.
Oh, let me Google it because I can't remember all the things that are on there.
Well, so it's
like
yeah,
My
its middle
Mom Still
name
Cleans
is-
My
is
Room.
what
Middle
the-
name is the first song.
Yeah.
Nick, go ahead if you have anything to add for MXPX Life in General.
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic album, man.
Oh, this chick
God
magnet.
damn.
Yep. He seems
I've
disappointed.
actually-
this chick magnet. What are you talking about? Where's that?
I've actually listened to
I learned
this
how to play that in the bass
recently.
You did.
Yeah, this and the way the Buffalo as well.
Oh, okay.
Slowly
just-
going the
just
way of the
to-
buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah, just it's nostalgic.
Do you know what the best song
to
that
listen to this
MXPX
stuff.
ever did? In my opinion, it's on "Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo." It's an
think I know
all
what-
instrumental. Literally
Yeah.
doesn't sing at all. That's the
Yeah,
best song
that's
they've ever
really
done.
good. That's really
that's
good.
it.
Yeah.
Just the guy doesn't sing. I'm good.
Mhm.
But yeah, Chick Magnet. You know. Yep. I mean, it's a catchy bass line. It's fun to play. It's pop punk. It's fun to play. It's just what it is.
Mhm.
But in terms of, yeah, the funny thing is about MXPX is they're actually thought of higher now than they were when they were out in '96. Like, there's actually I found that out because I started making fun of them and people weren't joining in. That they're actually thought of in like a higher esteem by the local pop punk groups. I'm not sure why, but to each their own. MXPX, Life in General, check it out. But now we will get
I
to.
still like him. Fuck it.
Yeah, go for it.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
solid stuff.
honestly, yeah. I mean, I don't mind them either.
I bet you if I listen to that album, I could probably sing the whole damn song again and not
Yeah.
even think about it. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
gonna come back.
it's a good time. Yeah. Except when they start singing about God, then you're like, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
just skip
Yeah.
to the next one, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you're skipping every song. All right, we're going to.
Not really. I mean, it's pretty angsty.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's
We'll
feels a bit
now.
uncomfortable.
Oh, you're right. We'll move on to top songs now of 1996, and the number one song of '96. Any guesses? Any guesses at all?
Top song
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you.
of '96.
Yep.
Ironic.
Ironic. It's a good guess.
No idea.
It's a dance
maybe-
craze. Dun, 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 dun,
Dance?
dun. Macarena.
Oh,
The
Macarena.
Los
Oh,
Del Rios
man.
Macarena. Number one song
Oh my
of
God.
1996. Yeah.
I guess that song is like a really like raunchy ass song, but you don't know it because you can't speak Spanish.
Right. Well, a lot of people can't. But
Right.
yeah, it's yes, I think the girl's talking about like hooking up with like every one of his guy friends while he's away. I don't know. I just like the Macarena. Ay! Ay! That's my favorite part. Yeah. I used to do my way to my pickup line when I was of that age was maybe like a year later, so like 11, 12 years old, whenever the Macarena was, where like a dance or something, I would pretend like I didn't know how to do the Macarena to get people to be like, oh, you don't know how to do, or sure, I'll show you. Sure, that'd be great. And so that was my my way in.
That was your in.
That was in. After the Macarena died out, so did my game. So that was the end of that.
You had to find another dance.
Yeah.
You're like, does anyone know the electric slide?
Oh, it's a Charleston. Is it still in? Oh God. But it's funny enough is that Macarena was the number one song in '96, and it beat out one of the longest like week after week of being number one in the history of the Billboard charts. It might still be the longest ever, and that's Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, "One Sweet Day." It was a top song in '96, and that was a song that came out in like '95, and it hit number one in like December of '95, and it stayed number one till mid-March of '96. It was number one every single week for 16 weeks, which is crazy. One Sweet Day. It's you'll know it as soon as you hear it. I'm trying to remember like actually how the chorus goes, but like I can't imagine 16 fucking weeks. Get the hell out of here. How is that? Yeah, there's got to be. Just choose anything. I choose nothing. Just have something else not be it.
Must have been a drought. Like nobody
honestly,
released
yeah.
anything.
All right. But yeah. We'll move on to the Tony Rich project. Not even joking you. I don't know how long that project lasted because it seems to only know one song. Tony Rich project with Nobody Knows. Which is that song where it's like, I keep trying, but I'm feeling every day.
Oh yeah.
Inside. Nobody knows it but me.
Yeah.
That song. Yeah.
Yeah.
That song. Okay.
Nobody
knows
but
me. It was weird. It was like that Sarah McLachlan like commercial with like the dying animals, but it was like somebody with like cancer. It was like in the middle of the night, like, hi, I've got cancer. These kids have cancer. Donate money to cancer. Nobody knows it but me. And just like, oh my god. And I'm like, oh god. It's terrible. I think everybody knows. You're telling everybody. I didn't understand why they chose that song. Anyway,
right.
I think we're all aware. All right, we'll move on to another top song. Mariah Carey
Epic
again.
Macarena.
Right? Mariah Carey's "Always Be My Baby." Classic Mariah Carey song. Yes. I think we all know how that goes. That was 1996 there. Tracy Chapman's "Give Me One Reason." Another top song.
That's
of
a classic
1996.
song.
Hell yeah.
It's a great song.
I did not know that was a woman.
You did?
No, I thought it was a man when I first heard it. The name Tracy Chapman. Tracy could be a male name. You know, as easy as anything. So, Tracy Chapman, a bit deeper voice than I normally am used to hearing things sung by a woman. But no, yeah, and Give Me One Reason. Very good.
Classic
song. Another classic song we got here. Bone Thugs and Harmonies, "The Crossroads." Meet me at the crossroads.
At the crossroads.
You won't be lonely. You won't be lonely.
Oh my god.
And I'm gonna miss everybody. And I'm gonna miss everybody. Fucking hell. Bone Thugs and Harmony. Honestly, a very unique group compared to all the other hip hop R&B groups of the time. Maybe only Boys to Men in terms of harmonizing, being good at least. They were very unique. But still, I didn't really care for any of their songs.
So were they like hip hop then?
It was like a mixture
Or
of
they
hip hop.
or were they
R&B.
R&B?
They're both hip hop R&B.
Oh, it was a mix.
Yeah. So hip hop R&B. Bone Thugs. Bone Thugs is
Right.
the hip hop, and Harmony is the R&B.
Oh, I see. I thought it was the other way around.
That's right. Bone Thugs is definitely an R&B.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what the Bee Gees wanted to be, the Bone Thugs.
Oh yeah, that was their first name. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We should be the Bone Thugs. All right. We'll get to
the Bone Thugs, baby.
Next top song of 1996. I got Donna Lewis's "Always Forever." Now what's that song? It's just like I love you always forever. It's like this. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's like yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I know. That's that one part.
Put it down.
Yep. There it is. We'll move on to the next one. Move on to Quad City DJ's "Space Jam" as a top song, or number one, or not number one, but a top song of 1996, and that's the title, or not the title track necessarily, but the first track off that album. You know, the "Everybody Get Up, Time to Slam." Yeah. Got that. We got Deanna Carter's "Strawberry Wine." Now,
Oh hell yeah!
Oh god.
Hell yeah!
"Strawberry Wine," 17, "Hot July Moon," "Saw Everything."
Yeah.
"First Taste of Love," "Bittersweet," all that jazz.
Oh yeah.
I believe he was working his way through college while she was on her grandpa's farm. I don't know what it is with country music people. They are a big fan of the statutory.
They are, yeah. You know what's it's interesting because I was listening. It's just funny that you mentioned this song actually, because I've actually been playing this truck simulator game, and they got these radio stations, and I was like, I'm gonna put some country on because I'm in like a semi truck, you know,
like Convoy.
Yeah, and
Right.
and of course they had these country songs on, and of course this song came on, and I was like listening to the lyrics, and I was like, Wait a minute. Like, is she saying that he is 30 because she thought 30 was old, or is she 30 now? Right? Because that was the
Oh, I
lyric.
see. Oh, I see. Yeah, no,
You
I know what
know.
you're talking about. I don't remember. I haven't listened.
So
I
I don't know
listened
if
to,
I don't know
yeah.
if that was like the time pass, or was she? Because I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, what's going on in this song? Yeah.
It's very strange. Garth Brooks is outwardly just like calling for it, and then everyone's like jumping on that train. So yeah, Deanna
Right.
Carter,
Yeah, that
17,
one did really well.
Grandpa's Farm.
It was caught somewhere between a woman and child. I'm just reading some of the lyrics.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's
so
what
it's
got
like,
me. I was like,
That's-
what? What's happening here?
Prefer women to have no child in the, what the fuck are you talking about? Woman and child. He's in college. This is all problematic.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is, I don't know if people really
community
notice that.
college?
I don't know if people really notice that, because people love that song and don't even pay attention to lyrics. It's kind of
Right.
like Afternoon Delight, I guess. But
Right.
move on now to another top song of 1996, Alanis Morissette's "Ironic." There it is.
There it is.
Great
Oh, yeah,
song.
great song.
Great
Great
song. None of the things
Although
are
I
ironic.
think none of the things are. Yeah, I was gonna say none of the
are-
things they're ironic.
But that's the irony of the song.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that
Right.
none of it is ironic. That's ironic.
Mhm.
Call a song. Yeah. So crafty Canadians as well.
Those correct.
We got
Beady little eyes and flapping heads.
yes,
Continue.
a classic song from 1996. Tupac featuring Dr. Dre, "California Love." California Love. Na, 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 na,
In
na,
the
na,
city.
na, 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 na. Yeah. In the city. Compton. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. A classic song.
California. Oh.
Yeah, but obviously, "All Eyes on Me," that song's off that, so God, that's
Mhm.
gonna be big. So, yeah.
I'm not sure if they know, but eyes spelled with an S.
They
throwing that
may.
out there.
It's more hip hop.
That's a typo. That's a typo.
That's a typo. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Made it all the way to print.
Yeah. Hey guys, did you see a problem with this?
No, send it out. All right, we're good. So we got another top song of 1996, Celine Dion. "It's All Coming Back to Me Now." It's all coming.
Oh
back,
God.
all coming
More
back.
Canadian bullshit.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you can thank Celine Dion for dethroning Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men's "One Sweet Day." Because until then, yeah, so the American public finally got a break from that. But it was Celine Dion to the rescue. It wasn't much of a break. Then we got Eric Clapton's "Change the World," his song, "Change the world, I will be the sunlight in the universe." It's just weird. It's like he's like
I don't think I've ever heard that.
60 years old, somewhere around there. Maybe not even that old. Maybe
Oh,
somewhere
man,
around there.
what?
Yeah, he's got to be 55, 60 at this time. Like towards the latter
Is he
years
still
of his
around?
career. Barely. Yeah, he's I don't know, boohooing vaccines.
Barely hanging on, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty much what he's up to right now.
Wow.
And then we got LaBouche, "Be My Lover." Wanna be my lover, wanna be. It's this dance
Oh.
Euro song kind of thing. Yeah. We've got another top song, George Strait, "Blue Clear Sky." And I remember being in the
Oh,
car
yeah.
driving to Illinois, hearing the song on the radio, and hearing John get upset at this guy singing the song, and he's like, "Shouldn't it be clear blue sky? What's he talking about with blue clear sky? It's
Yeah.
clear blue
Yeah.
sky."
Still bugs me now. Listening
Yep.
about.
Yeah. And I was like, he's got a good point there. He's got a good point. And then they turned up the radio to ignore the kids. They just turned it up loud. We had to hear that bit.
Yeah. Out of the blue.
I mean, it's a
blue
good.
sky.
It's a good tactic. I use it
Yeah,
today
right. Yeah.
with the kids.
Solid. That's where you picked it up.
True.
And then
You've
we
been
got,
playing George Strait at full
No,
blast?
Clear Sky.
no, just other
Just turn out
things.
the radio.
Other things, yeah.
Instead of bleeding, I'm dying. Blue, blue sky. Yeah. All right, we got a few more songs here for top songs. Jewel, "Who Will Save Your Soul?" Written, I think she was 16 years old. You can tell. Some of the lyrics seem like they're just thrown out there. They have no meaning, or they're like pseudo philosophical, but they don't really have anything deep there. Really, it's just
Just gotta
sounds
catch
like
you
it
hook.
is. Yep, that's about it. One of my favorite, Joan Osborne's "One of Us," which is the "What if God was one of us?" That
Oh,
song.
no.
Yeah. She got to meet the fucking Pope because of that fucking song. She wore a nose ring in the music video, but it was fake, so everyone got really upset with her about that. Poser. And the last one, okay, so we've been doing a segment of horrible country music videos, or ridiculous country music videos, I should say. And the truth be told, I looked through more videos than I care to admit for 1996. I really did. But there really isn't too many that are over the top, like goofy bad. However, there is one that I found that I thought was just cheesy, corny, enough for me to put it on this list. And that song is Daryl Singletary's "Too Much Fun." Where he's
Oh
you know
no.
what I'm talking about?
Yes, I
So
do. Yeah.
the video starts off with a line of cops with their lights on, a helicopter following them, and in the middle of this line of cops is Daryl Singletary driving his truck with like 11 people or so in the back of the truck. And then they show it to, the front of his truck again from the back of a police car. So you don't see the police cars ahead of him. You only see the ones behind him, because the lyrics of the song are, he's got, I got lights flashing in my rear view mirror or something like that. And I got 11 people in this truck. Officer pulled me over and said, "Sir, what have I done?" He said, smiled and said, "Boy, you're having too much fun." And then he has like these corny lines where he's like looking at the camera and
right, of course.
God, it's so bad. And
yes, he's got like people on the bed of his truck. There's fucking helicopters and shit. Yeah.
And they drive him to this spot, or it's nighttime now or something like that. And there's people waiting to get into the club, which is just like a fucking bar, like a petting zoo or something. I don't know.
Sure,
and they're like, oh my God, there's somebody being chased by cops. He's not actually being chased. He's being led. He's being like bodyguard. Like they're surrounding him, not because they're trying to stop him, because they're like it's like a celebrity or something like that. And he goes, and so it's like a big bullshit like line in the beginning, like he's being in trouble with the law.
And then the party's in the parking lot, apparently. The venue's the parking lot, folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just a really corny video, but the truth be told, I mean, that might be it for our absurd videos. At least for 96, I didn't see anything really worth checking out, but I have hope for 97. But Daryl Singletary's "Too Much Fun" is it's a really bad song.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's a top
it's awful.
song. It's really not. It's not a top song in any way. It's not even a top country song. It's like 50, but the video is garbage. So it made the list.
Oh yeah.
All right, now we'll move on to worst songs of 1996. And with that, I have R. Kelly's "I Believe I Can Fly." Just can't stand that song. I've heard it too many times, and I think William Hung does it better.
I concur.
I've got Quad City DJs, "Come On and Ride the Train." Come on, ride the train. Ride
Jesus
Come on,
Christ.
ride the train. Choo choo train. Yeah. Great song. Got Los Del Rio's "Macarena." Gotta do it. I got Tony Braxton's "Unbreak My Heart." How clever. Not sure how you do that. Maybe glue back. I don't know. Anyway.
I was to say super glue popsicle stick.
That's how you do it. And I chose this song because it's Kevin Sharp. Who's Kevin Sharp? Well, he sings the song "Nobody Knows." Wait, didn't that project group sing "Nobody Knows"? You're right, I say. He did. Country had a habit of doing this, where there'd be a pop song that come out.
Yeah.
Like All for
That's
Ones.
right.
Like I can't remember this name of the song. Well, Kevin Sharp.
I heard this version.
Yep, you did. Kevin
country
Sharp
version.
Yep, "Nobody Knows," and he'd stolen that from that. He'd lifted it from the Tony Rich project. It's not even his own fucking song, and he got 1 year of a hit off of someone else's hit in country, and that was it. So I chose him for one of the worst songs of 96. However, the worst song of 1996, without a doubt, is Bugs Bunny's "Buggin'" from the Space Jam soundtrack.
Oh my!
Holy fuck! It is legitimately Bugs Bunny rapping. So it's basically Mel Blanc or whatever his name, like rapping, and he takes a dig at Michael Jordan's baseball career. Which, if you go back and look at it, Michael Jordan's baseball career towards the end, before he actually rejoined basketball, was actually on the up and up. He did incredibly well for someone who had no like real experience playing, play baseball, or whatever he was in. His numbers are actually quite good. So, but it is what it is. But Bugs Bunny's "Buggin'" from the Space Jam official soundtrack the worst song of 1996. And now we will move into the top TV shows that debuted in the year 1996.
For salads and scrambled eggs. Everywhere you look.
That
All
about
right.
sums it up.
Yeah, that about sums it up. All right, we'll move on. But TV shows that debuted in the year 1996. Dragon Ball Z debuted in 1996. Never really watched it. There's
watched
a
it.
lot of fans
No,
of that show.
Still never seen it.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
from
All
my
I know is a power level. That's all.
yeah, from my
Right.
experience. Oh, all the characters are named after vegetables. That's another thing. I found that out
That
too.
makes sense.
Is that so?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Like Vegeta or something. It's like
Vegeta?
Yeah.
Vegeta is name. You know, like I can't remember what vegetable. It's like vegetable essentially, and then like there's a couple others. I was
A
informed.
Goku?
Yeah, Goku's another vegetable. It's all vegetables.
Goku sounds like a yogurt brand.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. But yeah, I mean, Dragon Ball Z, like I said, I never watched it. Each episode's like a half an hour long, or so like 22 minutes, but like nothing
Right.
really happens in terms of plot. That's been my understanding of it. It's like they move like 5 feet in the whole episode. But yeah, another show that debuted in 1996 was Everybody Loves Raymond. Debuted in 1996.
Oh.
No.
That came out then. Yeah.
Alright.
Other show that came out in 96. Big fan of the show. It got a bit silly at the end. It's good that it ended when it did, but the first few seasons are top notch. Honestly, excellent writing, acting, especially. Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, classic.
Love
Classic
that show.
Classic. I think there's a
John Lithgow, man.
Oh, fantastic!
Mhm.
Absolutely fantastic.
And the guy who played what was his name? The weird one.
Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Harry?
French.
Yeah.
French
French
Stewart.
Stewart.
Yeah, French Stewart.
French
There
Stewart.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
And
you
then,
played anything else ever? Or is that just
Tommy. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Levitt.
Yeah. I don't know what else of French Stewart's. He has been in other things, but not a lot. But
And
this
that big
show-
lady, the Amazon woman.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's huge, dude.
Christina, Kristen, something, I don't know. I can't remember her
Yeah.
name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, she was Sally, Sister Sally.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I mean, Mary Albright, Jane Curtin is fantastic at SNL.
Oh yeah.
Original SNL member. The people that wrote those shows are like Terry and Bonnie Turner, I think it is, or something. They're very
After
good
the
writers.
Great
They've been
War,
around.
The Transformers story continues as the Maximals and Predacons battle in the distant.
What?
What was that?
What the hell was that?
What was that? Is that you, John?
Nope.
Was that you, Jake?
That might have been like, yeah, I'm like just looking up stuff like on I think that was just like an random ad.
That's not getting cut. That is not getting cut.
Yeah, keep that. Yeah.
What the fuck happened there? I imagine when I look back at like audience retention, it's gonna shoot through the roof from that. People are gonna be so intrigued. Yes, the Third Rock from the Sun. I can't say enough about it. Just, I mean, really well done. You go back and watch it, it still holds up. The character actors, the people that it's like Seinfeld in a lot of ways. It's not just the show, like the main characters are great, but the supporting cast is just as good. And so like I mean, Don, the cop, Newman, Wayne Knight is fantastic.
I thought he was in that too.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He's so fucking funny in that.
Oh yeah.
Dennis Nedry.
Their landlord,
Mhm.
their landlord, the lady, she's hilarious. Her daughter, who gets involved with Harry, is hilarious. Mary's like friend from the college, who's like kind of gothic. She doesn't laugh at anything. She's just very dry, cracks me up. Mary's Nina assistant, she's really good too. The students that Dick teaches, they have like a few, like 5 or 6 that are like mainstays that he get involved with him. Just really good. John Cleese plays an alien who
yeah.
one ups Dick. He's so good, and he like steals Mary away from him. William Shatner like won an Emmy for his role as the big giant head.
Yeah.
One of the
incoming
worst.
message from the big giant head.
Right? Yes. One of the worst. Honestly, one of the worst cameos I think was Roseanne. But
I don't even remember.
yeah, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't. It wasn't William Shatner. They were trying to redo that, but it just didn't work out. That was towards the end of the show when it started getting goofy. Although it's kind of goofy already, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
Third Rock from the Sun. Love that show. Can't give it enough praise. We'll move on now to another show that debuted in 1996, and that was The Daily Show. Was not hosted by Jon Stewart to start off with. It was hosted by someone else. I think it's like Craig Kilborn, I think his name was. And he did all right, but he moved on to something else. Like he got like a better offer, and so Jon Stewart would take over in like a few years, probably I think 2 or 3, and he wouldn't let it go till like 2015. So
Yeah.
Daily Show debuted 1996. Dexter's
Switching
Lab-
hands again, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Trevor Noah just announced he was leaving. It feels like he just got there, so it's amazing that
Right.
he did it as long as he did. But if
Yeah.
I'm being perfectly honest, the show hasn't been the same since John left. It's not as funny, not
True.
as good,
Yep.
not as poignant.
I agree.
The writing has gone down. And nothing against Trevor Noah, but I don't think he's as good as a host. I mean, it's hard to be as good as a host as Jon Stewart, but that's neither here nor there. Dexter's Laboratory debuted in 1996. One famous episode of Dexter's Laboratory, I remember I didn't see it, but I heard about it and watched some clips. There's cursing. They bleep out, which is really funny.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's really funny. Sabrina the Teenage Witch with Melissa Joan Hart debuted in 1996. TGI
The
Friday.
Talking Cat.
Yes.
Salem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And her
It's like
mother's
a
My wife still
animatronic or
watches that
something.
show.
yeah.
Or puppet. Yeah.
Puppet and I think both. What were you saying, John?
You're right.
So my wife still watches that show when she can.
Right.
She'll watch
It's
all
pretty
that,
nostalgic.
that and Friends, man. Like
Yeah.
just
Oh,
it never
no.
ends.
That's not a good one.
We got Spin
Jesus.
City. Remember Spin City? That was a good show. Michael J.
Is
Fox.
that with Michael J. Fox?
Yeah.
I like that one.
And
I
the-
never
was the
actually
one I
got
liked.
into it, but I heard
There.
good things about it.
Yeah, well, when Michael J. Fox is there, it's good. When he leaves and Charlie Sheen takes over, it's not as good.
Yeah, no.
But Michael J. Fox was dealing with Parkinson's at that time, and nobody knew about it. So now you go back and watch it, and you kind of see it more than you would notice beforehand. But yeah,
Wow.
another show that debuted in 1996, Arthur, which taught me how to spell aardvark, Aardvark, and that's how I know it. I cannot not spell it that way. Arthur
Right.
came out on PBS. I don't even know how long that show's been going on, if it's still going on, but it has produced many, many memes. Many, many memes. It's a meme,
Oh, yeah.
developing.
Oh
show.
yeah,
I
meme
think I'll-
generating show.
Absolutely.
I'll take that over Caillou. Jesus Christ.
This is a great show. I mean, it's probably not, but at least when I was a kid, I loved it. Beast Wars, Transformers.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, well, that's so funny. There's just a Transformers
Right?
thing that just happened.
Yeah.
Could have happened then. Could have happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Beast Wars, Transformers. Just original voice actors too for Megatron and Optimus Prime. Really good stuff. The art style it was computer generated, like CGI almost. The technology had gotten better since Reboot in the earlier 90s. But it wasn't.
Oh, man.
It still wasn't top notch, as it but it was good for the time. Very good, and worth watching. Nash Bridges also came out in 1996. I don't know anything about that fucking show except we had a janitor who worked at our school who loved talking about it. I was asked if you saw
Kurt?
Nash Bridges.
Kurt.
I'll give you a pop. Anyway.
Kurt. You're like, oh, Nash Bridges. And I was like, what the fuck? Something Nash Bridges.
Any
Nope.
gremlins?
Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Nash Bridges. All right. We'll move on now to another show. 1996 had the O'Reilly Factor debut. The O'Reilly
for
Factor.
fuck's sake.
Man.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it. We'll do it
Good
live.
shit.
No spin zone and didn't stop spinning until like 2014 or something, 2015. I don't know. Whenever the hell Bill O'Reilly finally got booted from Fox for like assaulting
Replace him
women.
with a bigger idiot.
I don't know. That was
Yeah.
pretty recent. I mean, past few years with
Yeah, was it
the
2018?
place with Tucker
I think?
Carlson, I think.
Yeah. It's got to be some. I
Yeah.
think it's like before the turn. It's definitely before the night before 2020, but maybe not
Right.
long before that. But maybe I'm even wrong with that. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I just realized I have Spin City twice. That's funny. Blue's Clues came out in 1996. Yeah.
It's fucking
Love that
Steve.
show.
Yeah, Blue's Clue. Did you know Blue's a girl? Did you know that? Blue Dog is a girl.
I think
Does it matter?
No, no.
Right.
It's not a real dog to begin with.
Yeah.
I understand, but I did not know it was supposed to be a girl. Not that it matters, but just a fun fact.
I didn't know.
Fun fact. Very fun. Judge Judy also came out in 1996. 1996. Judge Judy.
Man.
The Crocodile Hunter came out in 1996.
Oh, rip.
Yeah. Crikey. He lived to a ripe old age for a crocodile hunter.
Yes.
Done in by a fucking stingray.
Right. Some fruity fish. We got the Mighty Ducks, the animated series. Remember that? Where they're so stupid because Disney was like cashing in on the Mighty Ducks craze, and they're really, milking it by this point. And they've decided to have this animated Mighty Ducks show, and I was like, oh, that should be cool. Instead it was actual like human ducks that like fought crime. And they use like hockey related stuff as their like gear, like hockey sticks or like hockey pucks they shot. It was just really weird and not sure why they went that route, but you can watch it on Disney Plus if you want to. I don't recommend it, but you can. I don't really remember too much about it. I remember I liked one of the characters. He had like an eye patch. That was about it. That was the only one I liked. Beetleborgs was released in 1996. That was like a Saban type, is a Power Rangers group, VR troopers.
I hardly
Beetleborgs.
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember the name, but I
Yeah.
don't remember anything else about it.
Like the Saban universe or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not good. And one of the best shows to debut in 1996, way ahead of its time. Fucking hilarious. There's an amazing documentary about it. In the Dana Carvey Show was debuted in 1996. Too Funny to Fail is the name of the documentary. I highly recommend that. Dana Carvey Show. I remember exactly where I was in the living room, and we were watching Home Improvement. And after Home Improvement was going to be the debut of the Dana Carvey Show, and I told Mom and Dad that I really, really wanted to watch the Dana Carvey Show because I thought him doing voices was hilarious. He seemed like, it's a comedy show. I want to watch it. Okay, well, we don't really want, come on, please, I want to watch Dana. Okay, fine, we'll watch it. We'll watch it, just see how it is. And they start off the Dana Carvey Show, and the very first skit, the cold open skit, has got Dana Carvey as Bill Clinton, doing his Bill Clinton impression. And then at one point, he tells everyone that he's locked Hillary in a room and she can't get out, and that he's going to be both the father and mother to America. And so he proceeds to open up his suit jacket, and it shows not one, not two, but 6 nipples, which start protruding milk from them. And then they start bringing in cats and puppies and chickens and all sorts. And Mom and Dad were horrified. And they shut that shit off so quick. And in the documentary, they go into detail about it was just this, we're going to go with this as the starting off introduction to our show. And it was the worst idea ever because they had an insanely good lead in with Home Improvement. And at one moment, legitimately, like, I don't know, 15 million people turned it off at once at the exact same moment. And our parents were in that 15 million people.
Wow.
Literally, like, they watched the graph of like people watching, and then it's a straight drop. And it was the milking, and I never got to see it again. But it stars a very young Stephen Colbert, a very young Steve Carell. It's written by Louis C.K. and a bunch of other, like the guy who wrote Insult Comic Dog. Very funny. Right. Robert Smigel. Very funny stuff. Mm-hmm. All like the big heavy hitters in comedy. Seinfeld. People that wrote on Seinfeld were considered like, the comedy gold of the time. But people from Seinfeld left that show to write on the Dana Carvey Show because they felt it was the new up and coming,
right,
comedy show. So yeah, I can't recommend that show, and at least the documentary. But the show is very funny too. It's got a lot of good stuff. My favorite probably would be the waiter who gets nauseated by reading food menus. So you got Stephen Colbert who brings like the menu to the table, and he's like, "We got chicken clam chowder." Like, God. Yeah. It's like It's just really funny. It's well done. But yeah, the Dana Carvey show. And we'll move on now to the top 10 TV shows of 1996 in basic television. ER, number 1. Seinfeld, number 2. Suddenly Susan, number 3. Friends, number 4. The Naked Truth, number 5. Fired Up, number 6. 7, Monday Night Football. 8, The Single Guy. 9, Home Improvement. And 10, Touched by an Angel.
Oh,
When
for
you
fuck's sake.
walk down the road. Yeah. God, Touched by an Angel.
Mom watched that nonstop.
All the fucking time. Ridiculous.
That or the
awful show.
fucking Waltons.
Yep. Or Walker. She got into Walker for a minute. Yeah. Just anything on CBS. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And it's all pretty much the same show, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Walker is Touched by an Angel with guns and roundhouse kicks.
Doesn't have his. Yeah, but Touched by an Angel wishes it had a badass theme.
And that's true. Yeah.
All right. Now we will get to the worst TV shows to debut in 1996. I only have 4. I'm going to start with Early Edition, which was a show that I remember watching this thinking it was stupid when I was a kid. This guy wakes up one morning and he has tomorrow's newspaper today.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And he has to just, for whatever reason, he just has to go around and make things right or correct it or stop bad things from happening or accidents or tragedies or whatever from happening because he knows it's going to happen tomorrow. So he gets that newspaper. Why he takes it upon himself to do this is beyond me. It's asking a lot for one person. But it's every day.
Yeah.
So it's like every day he gets like a newspaper. Doesn't he have a job? None of that stuff. Just like if he didn't get that newspaper, what would he do? So Early Edition, not a good show. Didn't last long. Kind of a stupid premise. Kind of a really stupid premise. But yep, CBS. That's a CBS show. That's what you get. Hannity and Combs debuted in 1996. Sean Hannity was introduced to the world, and Combs, which was the Democrat or the liberal-leaning side to that show. I think my favorite is probably Hitchens on that show. God, if you ever get a chance to watch Christopher Hitchens on Hannity and Combs, you will not regret it. It's on YouTube. Check it out. 2 more shows left. Viper, which is essentially there's a show called Viper, which is based off a car. Can you guys just give me a quick guess of what you think this show entails or what the show is exactly like? It's
Volkswagen Beetles.
The show is called Viper. And
oh, I know.
I feel like it's going to be like Knight Rider.
Ding, 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 ding. Exactly. Yeah. Instead of that car, it's just a Viper. That's it. And just, so,
okay.
Just a Dodge Viper. That is a smart car that talks to him. And so it could not be more rehashed if you tried.
Right.
And the last worst show to debut in 1996, one of the worst shows of all time, Seventh Heaven. When I see those happy birthday, falling back and breathe. Seventh Heaven. Yeah, it's so. Where do you go? Where the world don't treat you right. The answer is home. That's the one that you
I only watched that show when I was a kid because like Jessica Biel is hot as fuck.
Yeah.
And happy as
the
happy.
Fucking dog. Fuck that dog. Fuck that family. Fuck those kids.
Right. I love the Inception video of the episode where they find the joint. And it's just the Inception music in the background. Oh, it's so good. It's so funny shit, dude.
I mean, even when they deal with serious topics, they deal it with such a ham-fisted way. It's so terrible and just illogical, and it's just not a good show. No, there's not a good message. And not only that, when you find out that the guy, the main actor of that show, the preacher or whatever, has been like diddling kids, like in real life.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
The fuck?
I mean, it's just fitting, man. He's really into he's method acting. Right. He's really into the role.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So yes, that will do it for our TV of 1996, and we will now move in to video games released in the U.S. in 1996.
Hell yeah.
All right. Video games released in the US in 1996. For the PC on June 22nd, Quake was released. Quake. The first Quake. Didn't really play a lot of that. Played a little bit of it. Fun game. Very fun. Crazy weapons that you get, whatnot. Just really good first-person shooter. One of the first ones like that. To an extent, I mean, it really kind of changed a lot of things. A lot of people based things off Quake after that. Probably one of the more classic Mario games of all time. Super Mario 64 was released on September 9th, I think it is. I forgot to change that. It was released on June 23rd, which I have it down here in Japan, but it was released when the 64 was released, so I think it was like September 9th.
Yeah.
So that one.
I remember that being.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I remember that being like when the N64 came out. That being like one of the kind of the flagship ones coming out at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So that and there came some flying game with it as well. But I mean, just completely changed Mario on, flipped it onto
Star Fox.
Yeah, I think it's Star Fox.
Yeah, Star Fox. Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking,
Use the barrel roll.
No, it wasn't Star Fox. It was something else. It wasn't a good. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good game. It was Super Mario and a game that wasn't as good.
Yeah, Star Fox. Actually, I see it released in '97.
Yeah. There are other games that came out like in like December that were, I believe, for the 64 that were good. Like we'll get to that in a second, I believe. But for the PlayStation, Resident Evil was released on March 30th. Classic. For the Super Nintendo, Super Mario RPG was released on May 13th. This is one that John can speak on. Well, we can all speak on, I think. But John, I know especially for this next one here. For the PC, Command and Conquer Red Alert was released on November 22nd.
Oh, yeah, dude. For sure.
I mean, what a good... My first, what is that, a real-time strategy game? Did you call it that? Or maybe...
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so maybe my first to that. I love that. I loved using the Tanyas. I loved the... We used to hook up 2 PlayStations between 2 TVs, a lot of wiring.
Oh, yeah.
And play each other in Command and Conquer Red Alert. It was a lot of fun.
I literally have it on my PC right now.
It's just
original.
I'm really disappointed they don't make those games anymore.
I think you blame EA for that, right? Couldn't you blame EA for that?
Well, I mean, EA bought out Westwood Studios, and then they just kind of killed the game.
Yeah. The microing is horrific.
Oh
in
yeah.
that game.
Oh yeah.
But it's so much fun still to this day.
I remember John and I had a fight. We had I can't remember what countries we were, but it was pretty good. I made the mistake of not focus firing. So we had an outrageous amount of like both of us had a massive army, and I had my buildings separated just enough where if a nuke hit them, it wouldn't take out all of them. It would take out maybe 2 at best, because if you can space it out just way. But we had learned all the tricks as we played the game for so long. But John came back with a even bigger army and just took me out. I almost had him though, But if I had focused fired, I would have been better off. I might not have won, but at least I would have done better. But at first there, it was like my base was like impenetrable. I had Tesla coils lined up with like mammoth tanks. I had Tesla coils on the edge, so when submarines would show up, it would just zap them and they'd be dead in one hit.
Allies are always better in that game.
Yeah, it was
spam light tanks, baby.
Well, the only thing I don't like about the Allies were the light tanks are pretty much it, right? But the only thing I didn't like about the Allies is with the fact that, as the Soviets or whatnot, you can actually use like MiGs. If you had the MiGs were really where it's at, if you have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And of course you can mix them up with some mammoth tanks and pretty brutal. Iron Curtain as well.
Oh God, yeah.
But I remember playing as Ukraine. They had actually Jake and I played a game about a year ago where I was just like, I'm just gonna try this strategy. And I played as Ukraine, and I made like maybe 4 or 5 war factories and set my spawn point to where his base was when I scouted it. And then I just sent what were those trucks?
The
bomb
nuclear
trucks.
Yeah. They're just basically nuclear.
So it was just a convoy of bomb trucks consistently because I just kept maintaining my economy. And it was just a stupid cheese way to win.
Well, the Allies had the spy satellites so they could see the whole map.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had the ability to hide themselves with Shroud.
Yeah.
Right.
At the same time. So.
Well, and I saw that the French would make like fake buildings, but I would never really
I don't
did
know.
any of that.
Remember? Yeah. I know that I would build fucking cruisers and then chrono them to your shore and just.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then they just wreck it and then come right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's classic game. And Red Alert Retaliation's, just as good, I think.
Oh yeah.
No,
Mm-hmm.
we'll get to that in a year or two, I think. But we'll move on now to PlayStation, PC, and Sega Saturn released on November 14th. Tomb Raider for all three of those systems.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider was released.
That's the only Tomb Raider I ever played and beat. I love that game. It was
Played and
great.
beat. I know you played the second one.
Is that the one where you can like
Well, maybe it was Tomb Raider 2 that I played.
I think it was new. Yeah, it was Tomb Raider 2.
Yeah, it was Tomb Raider 2. I take it back. An original. I mean, I played the original Tomb Raider, but
yeah.
Was it the one that you had like the mansion and the butler
That was
followed you
2.
around?
Tomb
that
Raider
was 2.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I once trapped the butler in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
There was one level in, well, we'll get to it, Tomb Raider 2 later, but there was one level in Tomb Raider 2, since I have John here, that this is before, like really before we could use the internet. We'd have to go to the library, and like hopefully no one was on the computer, so we could go to like GameRevolutions.com to try and find like how to do it, this level, if someone had written it on the internet and all that stuff. And there was one level, it was towards the end of the game, and I was watching John play, and I had no idea where he should go. He didn't know where to go. We were just completely lost. And we were, and I was just, I'm not sure, it's either him or me. Someone came up with the idea to just, well, the only conceivable way to go, because we haven't been able to see what's down below this part, is to literally just take Laura and hang off the edge and just drop her and hold X, hoping that there's a ledge there that you can hang on to. And sure enough, that's exactly what you needed to do. Just drop. Just drop. And I remember the part of the bottom of the map that it broke up so you could actually hold on to a ledge. It eventually gets back to a solid wall. So there's like a space there, kind of like a mouth type gap, like someone's mouth. It's literally like the corner of the mouth where he grabbed. It was almost not working out, but it was like, I remember he dropped and John just held X and he grabbed on it. I was like, oh my God, it worked. Oh my God. Yeah. And then sure enough,
great.
and then he finished the level. And that's when he beat that one. Yeah. That was like the second to last level or something like that. I just remember being like, we're never going to beat this second game. But we'll move on now. For the PlayStation, Crash Bandicoot was released on September 9th.
Oh, nice.
Classic.
Yeah. I think I had the second or third game when we finally got a PlayStation.
I actually purchased 1 and 2 for the kids.
Did you? Did you get the remastered version?
PS4. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I heard those are good.
Nice.
This is interesting.
They played it for all 5 minutes.
Of course.
Oh boy.
This
back to
was
Roblox.
someone might want to look this up. I mean, I might look it up later, but I've never heard of how many games. I don't know how many games have been released on leap years on that day, but I can't imagine there's too many. On February 29th of 1996, for the PC, Civilization 2 was released.
Classic.
Which is the only Civilization I think I've played, and I remember playing with John.
It's one of the last good ones.
Yeah, you were like, you're Chris. Your people don't have clean water, working water, or farmland or anything, and I'm trying to make nuclear bombs because I think that's what I need.
That sounds like a totalitarian
Yeah,
government.
just kind of like, your people are gonna die, man. And I don't care. I'm here to nuke you. I've got one plan in mind here. So, but that was the only Civilization game I played, and I didn't play it for that long. It seemed like fun, but I probably would enjoy it more nowadays. And for the Super Nintendo on November 18th, Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble was released. Good Lord.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. On November 4th, Wave Race 64 was released for the N64.
Wow. I know that. Jet ski shit.
Yep. And I know it's like every game for the 64 has to be 64 at the end. We get it. There's no other cartridges.
Right.
They don't have to call it. Just call it Wave Race.
Yeah.
This is Wave Race or Wave Race 64. Hold on. We know. Fuck out of here. And then last one I'm gonna for video games released in November, it's released on November 1st, but in 1996 for the PlayStation, Blood Omen: Legacy of Kain. I remember watching people play that. It wasn't terrible, but Could be nostalgia, actually. So that will do it for the video games released in 1996 in the US. There's other games that were released in Japan that have yet to come out, like Mario Kart and whatnot. They're very close.
Right.
Diablo was
yeah.
said to be released on December 31st, 1996. It only shows that in one spot on the internet. Everywhere else I go to, it's January of 97 that Diablo was
Right.
released. So I'm just gonna save it for next year.
Never played the first one. I only played the second and third.
I think a game was released in 96, and correct me if I'm wrong. But wasn't Twisted Metal 2 released in 96?
I didn't see anything. I can check it out.
I want to say it was.
If it is, I
Twisted Metal 2, was that the one with like the clown car?
Yeah.
Or the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
it
released
says
in 96.
Does it release in Japan or was it released in the US?
I don't know.
That's usually what I try and go by. But if I missed that, no, you're right. It was October 31st. I must have just skipped over it. You could call there, John.
Oh,
It was
man.
released on Halloween.
Yeah,
Halloween of 1996. Twisted Metal 2. That was a fun fucking game.
that was
Yep.
Oh,
destroy the Eiffel Tower.
yeah, good call, John.
There was also
Alright.
Duke Nukem 3D. I don't know if that was.
I think that might have been 95. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that. Or if that was 96, I don't remember. I don't know. Or wait, no, I think it was 96. I just didn't write it down because
Yeah.
for reasons. Sorry. Yeah, I think video games is one of the last things I touched up before I went back to the timeline. But yes, Duke Nukem 3D also released in
96 was a big year for games.
Oh yeah, for sure. The 97's big too, so we'll get there. But for now, we will now move to the worst video game of 1996, and for this year, I chose for the Sega Saturn. Came out on September
Lord.
30th. Battle Monsters. Now, Battle
What?
Monsters is a versus fighting game developed by Scarab for the Sega Saturn. Similar to Atari's Pit Fighter, the game makes heavy use of digitized human actors as the characters, plus some blood influenced by Mortal Kombat. Battle Monsters was panned by most critics, who found that the scaling graphics, complex controls, interactive backgrounds, and multi-tiered arenas do not work well together. They also razzed the choppy animation and pixelation on the digitized sprites and likened the game to a second-rate Way of the Warrior clone. Crispin Boyer of Electric Gaming Monthly, which I remember that guy, called it one sorry mess of a fighting game. GamePro said it didn't even deserve coverage. And Jeff Gertzman summarized in GameSpot, while Battle Monsters does have some good ideas and twists on the standard fighting game, the whole package is poorly executed. However, GameFan defended Battle Monsters, assessing that the gameplay, though not conventional, can be entertaining, with 12 moves plus a super for each ghoul. And while the digitized graphics don't impress me as much as they did a year ago, when the game was released in Japan, they are still representative of the monsters they surround. Reviewing the Japanese version as an import, Next Generation stated that the characters are never quite enveloped within the background. Instead, what's left is a nice background with characters which seem to be cut and pasted on the television screen.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. That's exactly what it looks like.
What was the name of this game?
Battle Monsters.
Battle Monsters.
And I'm pretty sure I had a card attendant that I used to work with that suggested making this type of game. And he was like, I'd like to get Dracula to fight Frankenstein. And I was like, hey, hold on. You got to get like licensing for that. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he wanted to like have school mascots fight each other. Again, man, you're going to need licensing. You can't just do that. And so I saved him from getting sued. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Well, if you guys don't have anything else to add for 1996, I'll get into my. I'm going to bring back here a segment that people have been telling me they miss. So I decided to go ahead because I had some time, and I have a final thoughts for 1996. Final thoughts I have not done since. What is it? 2005 maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So I was told that, you know what I miss when I listen to your podcast? What's that? And I said, I miss the final thoughts. And I was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, well, I don't do them because I do all the jokes and all that stuff. It just takes a lot. I
Right.
typically don't have about a week and a half to work on these things. So, but for right now, if you guys don't have anything else to add or say, then I will get into final thoughts.
Fire away.
All right, here we go. The year of 1996 was a year of new age technologies. DVDs were released in Japan, signaling the oncoming death of the VHS, a staple of homes since the mid-80s. Nintendo released the now classic 64 console, turning the gaming world on its head. But of all the advancements in technology, it would be the newest internet website called Google that would become revolutionary in the next decade. Without it, I couldn't make this award-winning content you've all come to enjoy. In 96, we'd see the Royals, Charles and Diana, divorce, and the Prince of Pop's daughter divorce as well. We'd see one half of the world's greatest lip-sync duo attempting Grand Theft Auto, a deranged Martin Lawrence flaunting his 9, and an up-and-coming rapper gunned down almost 7 months after his multi-platinum release. The Summer Olympics in Atlanta went off with many bangs. Scientists cloned their first sheep, though no one would admit who the father was. Michael Jordan took something personal and returned the Chicago Bulls to championship glory. The first Major League Soccer game was played, and Kobe Bryant started his journey of making the Charlotte Hornets sorry they ever traded him. We all celebrated our Independence Day at the behest of Bill Pullman, chased tornadoes with the other guy who looks a lot like Bill Pullman, but who isn't in fact Bill Pullman. Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men made anyone with a pulse hate their life for about 16 weeks, but once again, America was saved by Celine Dion. Now in the latter half of the decade, America was in high spirits. It had been a relatively peaceful decade, one with economic growth through new technologies, a trend that would continue through to the millennium. William Jefferson Clinton won re-election, but his celebration would be short-lived as the coming year would bring an investigation that would captivate the public in a way not seen since the Iran-Contra scandal of the 80s. To put it bluntly, he blew it. And with that, I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation and will join us again for another installment of History with Hersaphat. Don't forget to hydrate, exercise, and to like and subscribe to the podcast. All these things are essential for your health and well-being. Take care of yourselves and each other.